Brother, it's time to upgrade. I think I probably will at some point. I just don't have time right now. I'm honestly not feeling well today. I woke up this morning. It was like, what time was it? I think it was like 8-ish or like right after 8:39. Like I was checking the charts and there's a few things I liked. And then my stomach just kind of exploded. So yeah. Yeah, I think it actually might be Adam got me sick because he came over and helped me put up some stuff on my office, which I'm almost done with. Oh, it's chill. It doesn't feel as bad. We'll see. We'll see how long it lasts for. But what do we have on our screen here? Little EU. This is a question in chat. But let's see. We have a few minutes, 2 minutes until we start. So all right. I think we're mostly gonna review some stuff from this morning. Anyone go through Garrett's course yet? Yeah. How was it? I guess my question isn't how was it, but was there parts that didn't make sense or stuff that needs to be edited? Like that's my main question. Was there anything that didn't make sense in it? Which parts? Actually, I'm just gonna make a little homework section. Hold up. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna dox myself somehow with this. Let's see. I'm gonna let this load in before I somehow do dox myself. Okay, that works. That looks better. All right, wait, I'm gonna make a little homework real quick. New post. GXT course. Granted, he is gonna be posting videos, which will help a lot, but let me see what you guys said. Yeah, he's gonna include examples in that. You should stream through OBS and have a different screen put up when looking at sensitive info. I mean, yeah, I do screen through OBS. Like now, nothing will come up. Like I think I can pull up anything on my screen and it won't show up. Yeah, because I'm doing a window capture, not display capture. But it just takes like 20 seconds to load, which is a bit annoying. I once doxed myself, like my whole entire email, on a public YouTube stream. Somehow, no one noticed, which was crazy. But we're still here. All right. Yeah, let's talk another time. But I will we'll start recording here. This was I guess we'll just start with this example on EU because it was here. There's a few people here on EU looking at this short setup, right? And it's a great setup. We go to the daily, right? And we form a swing up here. We have a nice bearish closure. We're respecting the lower half of the previous day. So looking to trade that lower, right? So if you take a look at that um, hourly here, right? You can see we form an open, we reach higher. We have a nice candle two closure here forming the high a day. Then you could use this, or I would use this as the closing candle or the change in the state of delivery. We have then expansion, right? And when we get expansion, we want a new phase of price delivery. So we ask ourselves, is this a reversal, right? Does this have displacement back into the range? No, right? So it's not a reversal. Is it consolidating? No, because we are continuing to make a higher high, right? So then this is retracement, right? So expansion, retracement, we already anticipate the high at day in. So then you can look for a New York continuation, right? London reversal, New York continuation. This is a classic sell day, right? So this wick. So then if we hop to, we'll say this time frame here, right? We see we have this hourly candle two closure, but what do we notice about this candle two closure? It already sweeps out these initial lows, which is less ideal. I want to be in this position before these lows are taken out. Let me see if I can replay to show you what I mean. I don't think it will go back far enough. No, we want to be in these. We'll just mark it out here. We want to be in a trade before these lows are really taken out, right? Or all these failure swings. So marking that out, it's less ideal to be looking for a trade in this candle when we're almost already to those lows, right? Now, if we are in a strong trend, that's when you can look for a continuation. And that's what I had up on my chart. I was talking to Blazer King about it. Really, the only way to that I would view this as an entry is, turn this back off. Once again, the phases of price, we take out this low with expansion. Are we getting a reversal back in? Do we have displacement back into the range? No, right? We can't come back in and displace it. Are we consolidating? Not yet, because we're not just staying in a range. So I'm viewing this as a retracement. Expansion, if I have a retracement, I expect a continuation, right? And that's where you can get a candle two closure, look to enter there. And then your 2R, right? Or you can wait for more, which is entering here. At this point, it's a bit late into the candle for me, and we're already below the lows, right? So that's the main thing there. Any questions on EU there before I get into some other examples? I don't know if Blazer King or any of the people that were asking about EU are in chat, but hopefully that helps if you watch the recording. We'll see. Now, shall we go through the homework that I assigned in TT lessons? We go to copper, right? So if we take a look at copper, right, we want to start on the higher time frame just to get a general direction, right? No, I don't trade EU. I was just looking at that because of some questions in chat, and so I was walking people through that, right? So if we're taking a look at HG here, or copper, right, and we're into our previous day, what do we notice here? We have a candle two closure, right? A very bearish close. And then we also have candle three with a bearish close because it closes below the previous bar, but also validating this as an order block. So that paired with these equal lows here give us a bias to be looking bearish the next day. Where would I want to see price trade to? Well, I'd want to be using the EQ of the previous day, and I'd want to see it remain below it, right? And then continue lower. So going to today, right? You can see there's that EQ. We'll hop down to the hourly or 4-hour, right? If I'm wanting to see the EQ be respected and to trade lower, right? We get price reversing here, trading higher, expansion met with expansion. So then I can be looking to trade this reversal candle or this one, right? And if we go down to the hourly and pair it with that, what do we notice here? we have that pretty ideal closure where we sweep out the previous candle and then we close below this, right? So then going to our lower time frames, we can use this. Can even pair it before I get ahead of myself. You can also pair it with the 30-minute closure, right? It's the same thing, but going down here to our lower time frames, replay it. Right? We'll go to the 5 so we can look at that one. So going into this candle, we have what we want to be an invalidation. We reach into this small fair value gap, close below. It is copper, so it's a bit, gappy and a little bit weird, but we can anticipate this wick to have formed, right? And then we get a little bit move higher, but where do we go and trade to? Let me put back on the projection here. You can see it marks out the previous lows, but we have our current lows. Why would I look at these lows? Is because these are the lows that made this high, right? So if you think of a market maker model, it looks like that. So for the homework there, that is what I was talking about there, right? So 3-minute, similar thing, but it's just you have the continuation off of that. It's less of a key area in there. It's more so the just the bias of it respecting the EQ and then the 4-hour wick forming. So if I'm marking out this 4-hour candle, so I'll go back down here. It's really just the fact that once we make this high up here on the 4-hour, right? So open high and we start to trade away. I'm not really expecting price to trade back to this high. Right? I'm expecting this to remain. So then I can look for entries inside this expansion candle. Right, so it's less about the hourly point of interest. The hourly is just the swing point that aligns with the logic in the 4-hour candle, which is more about Garrett's model here, right? And one thing here, 30-minute, you can also use that. Yeah, so 30-minute, you can use that fair value gap if you want, a very small one, closes below. That's a candle 3 that forms the ideal formation because it's validating this high. So I can look to get on side with this. And then I can hold that till when? Well, the new higher time frame open should be here, right? Because if this is an expansion candle, it should close near the lows. We went over this in yesterday's stream, right? And what I wanted to say though is this type of formation, you'll see that because that's the ideal formation. If we go to NQ, it's the same look. Right, we go to NQ this morning. I'm actually going to talk about that, but you see that same formation, right? Now let's talk about NQ before we move to anything else because I've had quite a few questions on it this morning on why I switched my bias in here. So let's talk about it here. We'll start the day out here. So if we're expecting, there's two ways to look at it, right? Mechanically, we close back inside. So it could be bearish, right? If I put my indicator on, probably gives a bearish setup, looking for previous day low or this low. But let's view it this way, right? We have these equal highs. I was initially going in bullish, right? Because we have these equal highs up here. We have a nice reversal structure here, right? So we have a low gets swept out, we close over, right? A nice aggressive move out and then back into the range. That's that V shape, right? So if you look from here to like this whole price action here, it looks like this, where you have a kind of a consolidation, aggressive move out, back in, right? So it's a nice shift in structure. Now, if I want to trade these to these highs, I generally want low, high close, right? If I'm going to try to get on side with that, I'd want to see open for respect 0.5 of this wick, this candle, and then trade higher. But what do we notice about the open? It opens and just initially trades higher right away, right? So here, I don't really want to see it retrace, right? Or if I do want to see it retraced, really just back to the open to maybe put in a new wick. I don't want to see it go very far. But when we go like this and we come all the way back down, we're trading quite a bit lower here. Let me go less far. Here, I am still fine with being bullish because it's respecting that area, right? And we have a candle 2 closure here. Now, if you remember the entry sequence, if we close like this, I need to close over this to then trade this higher because it forms a swing or a candle closure. Need to validate by closing over this, or at least having a nice aggressive move that I can do after. And we have all these failure swings up here, right? So I can still hold this draw on liquidity. This next candle isn't super convincing of a move higher, right? It just kind of it reverses on a lower time frame here, right? So it does expand, but it comes back. So at this point, I don't really know what's going on, right? Because I can frame it as, okay, we have a swing forming here. I can look to trade higher, or I can view it as we are failing and we are respecting this area to trade lower, right? So that's why you give it another candle. What do we notice about this candle? We're not only closing below the EQ, but we also have that ideal formation, right? Where a candle 3 is validating this as an opposing candle because it retched into a point of interest, close below. So at this point, I'm viewing it as we have open, high. We're trading this lower now. This is invalidating my bullish setup, right? So now I view it as this is my drawn liquidity, right? So that's why that makes sense, right? And then this, why didn't I really anticipate this to trade higher? I wanted this to sweep out then to trade higher because it's fairly obvious we have all these failure swings up here. It's just I wanted this to sweep out because it doesn't really make sense to me that, hey, we're this close to this low and we're going to leave it. Right? I've talked about that before. So this is where I was then wrong, right? And we do that. Does that make sense on NQES? I mean, we can look at ES, but it's kind of the similar thing here, right? Once again, open trades higher, drops below that level, right? Here it's still fine. This is quite bearish, right? It can't close back up. We'll zoom in. Right, quite bearish, closes below here. And then we have this. I wouldn't get on side with this move personally. It's just not one that I would catch without some sort of SMT or another reason. You know. Would you consider that a CSD since we closed above the down close candles? Yeah, this is a change in the state of delivery. Right? For me, it just doesn't make as much sense because of what I wanted. I wanted one of these to get taken out. So it's still valid, right? Like the way I view it now is we should trade through these highs, right? But I'm just not going to get on side with that. Right. So it's a bit choppy. Let's see. Was this valid? It's like NQ 5-minute. Well, let's hop right over to NQ. We'll go to the 5-minute. Hit all. Right. So what I was also talking about earlier, if you go back into chat, is once we form this change in the state of delivery here, bullish, with this candle closure, if we are going to trade higher, we're going to respect 0.5 of this, right? So you can go back into chat. I said, if I wanted this to trade lower, I want to see a closure below here. We didn't get that closure below, and we just started to trade higher, which was the indication that, okay, we're likely to go reach up to these highs. Now your question is, was this valid? So now we have a propulsion block, right? We sweep out this high, so we can expect a new phase of price delivery. Here we get a little consolidation. It's a bit hard for me to trust this low unless there's SMT, even though we have that, just because I view this as consolidation, right? So the way I view this is I would want to see one of these lows ran out unless we go to ES. Yeah, no, they're the same. So yes, it's valid to consider it, and that is how you traded it. You traded over this high, taking this long, which is valid. I just personally wouldn't trade that because I've had it enough where in a consolidation like this, if I try to enter long on that, it just goes sweeps me out and then goes, right? So I'd rather miss this move than get swept out and then have it go. I'd rather just wait for the sweep. So you're still currently in that long, looking to target that high, you say? We take a look. Do we have SMT or anything? We do have quite the SMT here. ES is all the way over there. So that is one thing to note. But yeah, it's a valid trade. Like mechanically, it's valid, right? It has a point of interest, right? Closes back over the down close candle into the point of interest. It's just not one that I generally consider. Why? Because of how we swept out this previous. Generally, when we sweep out something, we get a little bit of a deeper retracement. So it's a valid trade. US 30 today, YM. Yeah, we can talk about it. So daily didn't really tell me much at all. I didn't pull anything from the daily looking at that today. YM, I honestly just, it's just a bit weird, but 4-hour chart is where it made an okay sense to me. For taking a look here, right? I'm just taking a look at the daily profile, how the daily is forming, right? We open, we trade higher first, then we displace lower. Not very clean in here, but if we are going to trade, I think we had SMT with RTY. Let me see. Yeah, I think we had SMT with RTY in here. Let's see. That's 1YM. Yeah, it is a bit messy, so I didn't really draw anything from it. The only thing I noticed was just when I woke up, we were in here. I view this as an expansion candle on a candle closure. I hop into the lower time frames, which you can use the 5-minute, 3-minute, any of that. And then this is around when I woke up in here and got to look. And I think here is where we had SMT with RTY. But if you notice, we are already expanding, right? 6, we form a wick. We start to trade lower. Doesn't really make sense to me until we close below here, because that's the low that made the high. So I wouldn't be looking for anything in here. I also don't trust those highs, but now that we've closed below there, we form a continuation off of that. Then you can look to get on side. We reach higher, we close below. This would be the entry you could take short, right? The only thing you have to be wary here is you may get swept out on the open, right? That can happen with the volatility, with a very large standard deviation, right? Because this is the manipulation leg, this whole leg up. I will then use -1 as the target normally. And so then that hits, and then we consolidate. I don't really know what goes on here. Consolidation. It's just quite a bit of a mess. So really there's only that little bit of price action I understand. And then here, if you wanted to form a reversal off that previous low, you could look to trade that higher. I think that goes higher. I don't know, it's just consolidated. But like that's the only little section of price that made sense to me. Let's see. Do you trade NQ on the days where there is FOMC news? FOMC minutes, sure. If you have FOMC press concerns, I'm not going to trade before that. Is this risky? Like I said, I just talked about that one for you on why I wouldn't take it, but it is valid mechanically. Would you consider that CISD since we are closing? I answered that one. Today is FOMC mini. Yeah, I don't really care about minutes, so I'll trade it before that. High impact news, what I'm talking about there is CPI, FOMC, NFP. Previously, I've been looking at the candle closures on the daily for C2, C3 closures. Looking to see what the daily candle we are to determine. To look for long shorts the coming days. So for RB today, I had a bullish bias. RB. Oops. Okay, yeah. I can agree with the bullish bias to this high, right? We sweep, closes in here. We have failure swings on the high. That's what this shows, right? We sweep, failure swings because this hasn't been taken out. So high resistance on this side, low resistance on this side. It can be long to that high. So therefore, I wouldn't short at all, except in chat today, there was a clean short. So what we're talking about there is let's go into here. Like I explained, here's that low that got taken out, right? Close back inside. This would be that target, right? And if you notice, we can go to this time frame, or I prefer actually oil for the reasoning on this as the correlated pair. So we can go to CL here with that same idea. And I was looking on the 4-hour. Here's the daily open, and we have just expanded away from that daily open, right? Multiple expansion candles, which is generally when I'm not trying to look to long this, more so looking to catch a retracement, right? So I viewed that as expansion into a new phase of price delivery, which I can catch a retracement reversal. But the main reason is when that is paired with this high at the same time, right? The 10 a.m. I could expect a retracement or a reversal, right, to trade lower. So with that idea in mind, you then can go look from the 1400 candle, not 1400, the 10 a.m. candle on for an aligning setup, right? So you can see if we go to the 30-minute or hour, do we have a fractal model that aligns with it? We do, as this, right, is a 30-minute model aligned with that. So can go down to the 3-minute paired with the 4-hour time frame, right? And although it didn't make much of a wick, we'll put some history on this. It's the idea that this is an expansion candle, right? So I can wait. I wouldn't really use this. I would use that. So then once we go close below here, I could look to get on side with this because I stop on that high, looking for 2R, right? Or there's other ways to get on side with that as well. If you're already anticipating it, you know, and you're using this as the reversal, which I prefer to use the whole series, you could also frame it this way, right? Or you could even frame it as the open on the closure there. So we do sweep, reach into a point of interest, and then we close below the series of down close candles. Or do we close below? On this close we do. So, right, and then there. And then for targets, what could you do? Zoom out, right? And the main thing I looked at here on RB was if you go back to our daily, using EQ of the daily, where does that line up? Right in here. And you can use that as a target, or really just previous lows, right? So down here, we have all these little equal lows and failure swings here. That makes sense though. So it's correct to be bullish off the open, right? But you have to see that we hit a target there, right? So I'm not trying to long over this high, right? And then that's where you can combine it with the 4-hour candle and you see that it took this high. And so then you have to wait and you say, okay, are we going to expand or does this align with a fractal model? There you go. Right, and I like this as target, but you can also use previous day lows or all these lows down here. Right, it's basically a range. Hi T, in this RB example, when the bearish candle 2 is formed at the high, can we look for an entry without waiting for an H1? Yeah, correct. I personally don't need to wait for an hourly or 30-minute change in the state of delivery. Can you? Yeah, right? Like if you want to wait for this and then trade this candle, sure, that works. It just depends on what you want to do. There's multiple ways to go about it. I'm not a huge fan of waiting for an hourly change in the state of delivery in New York because generally if you're waiting for an hourly change in the state of delivery in New York on a reversal, you're already going to miss that reversal move. Hey, T, check gold daily hour 5-minute one. Okay. So let's zoom out here to the daily. Okay. Sweep that. So we sweep out this high. This is where correlated assets come in because silver was much weaker and closed to like down here, right? So if I was going to frame it, it'd be bearish, right? And then you can combine it. You could look for this candle closure there or 30-minute off of that after 10 or 6. Yeah, so it'd just be there. Then we can go to the 5-minute. Let's see if there's anything in there. So we take a look. We can put our fractal model on. We're trading within the 6 to 10. In here. So we have the change in the state of delivery. We have this closure. So I could anticipate that to go. Could look to get on side on that close. See if I can get 2R out of that. That. Looks like it stopped me out, right? So maybe I just missed my TP on that one. Right? If I were to use the retest, would I have gotten 2R? Yeah. Stuff like that though, happens. So would have missed that one if I put my stop there. But if I had more time and I didn't speed run it for the sake of this, would I look a little bit left and maybe see I have lows resting right there? Maybe. Who knows? I didn't do it, so I can't say because it would be in hindsight. You got the retest? Well done. All right, let me see if I missed any questions. Yeah, but that's how I would have traded it. That's mechanically how you would. Hi T, in the RB example, when the bearish C2 is formed at the high, okay, I answered that one. Sometimes the C2 closure makes the two CISDs even before the candle closes and the C3 opens directly. So there's ways you can, oh, wait, what example could I use on this? I think I can use ES yesterday's 5-minute. Where are we at? Was it 3? No, I think it was 3-minute yesterday. I'm on replay mode. Where are we at? Wednesday? Tuesday? No, I think it was NQ or ES. I think it was in here. Yeah, something like that. So here's a quick example. It's not great, but it's the structure I wanted. If you already have that OB formed right before the open of the new candle in which you can look to take an entry, that gives you a protected high. So I know going into this candle, I don't want to see this high taken, right? So then that's when I could look to take an entry right on the open, right? I want to use the bodies, wherever I want to use it, right? That's when I can look to take an entry like that because I already have a protected high going into the open. I don't need it to go open, high, why? Because we already made the high. Does that make sense? So this isn't a great example. Does it work? Sure, but I'm not a huge fan of taking something after we already have the expansion. But that's what I mean with you can call it and be like, all right, it's just missed, or you can look for something like that. If it, let's say it opens and it would have opened like down here, like I'm not going to try to trade that. Like that just doesn't make sense, right? I'm saying if it closed down here, then the higher time frame candle opened there, because now my high is all the way up there. Like I could do something like that. That just doesn't make sense to me because it's overextended. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, you can put it on, it kind of depends. Like if I was going to try to take this trade here, I'd probably put my stop on the very low. it's more up to discretion on if you want it on the body or on the low. For most, it's easier to just put it on the low because you don't have to think about it. Um, but there are scenarios where, let's say I traded it like this, I have my stop on the body. There are very like scenarios where it's going to come, stop you out like this, still be valid, and then trade away. And if you put it on the body, you have to accept that. If you're on the very low, you're still in that trade. So it kind of depends. Show ideal entry of an RB. Yeah, we can go back to RB here. So the way I would approach RB is if I'm trying to trade within this 4-hour candle here, go like this. And let me add history. Should put it on there. Right? I'm trying to trade this continuation. So there's kind of a few ways to go about this, but I'm just wanting to see when this wick has formed or when I expect this to form, right? Now, right off the open here, right, we'll remove this candle. If this is going to respect, right, where do we need it to respect? This fair value gap, right? And ideally the lower half because we don't want to see it trade much higher, right? So I know I want to see a wick form in here or just the high form in there, right? And you can see that's where it gives us the little T-spot. So it's like right there. So if I don't want to see price trade much higher than this and we have a very aggressive move like this, I could either enter if we get a closure through that, which we didn't. So then I just wait. I can either enter once we close through here or on put my stop on the high, or I can wait for another entry, right? So this technically closes below, so I could enter with my stop on the high, or I can wait because now we have a new fair value gap in here or a new point of interest. And does this hold? Let's see. Technically, I could enter on the candle 3 closure there, or I could just enter here. So this would be the most ideal entry. Can sell the close of that, my stop on that high or there. And then where would be 2R? Well, let's see. 2R is right there, just about at that low. So I could look to take 2R right at that low, right? Or I can hold, let me sell one more so I can show you how I would hold runners. That's where I'd take one off. And then I can hold the other ones to these really flat lows down here. So then I just wait, see what happens. So then I would close one there. I think I went a little too far, but right there. And then now we have that continuation, and then it hits the TP, right? So that's how I would approach it. I'm just trying to find a lower time frame wick inside that higher time frame candle, right? Hopefully that was for you, Tyler. Hopefully that was helpful. You trade from 8 to 11. Do you also recommend beginners trade NQ with your fractal model? I think most are better off with NQ, ES, gold, oil. Like those are some good pairs to watch that I have found for people, or like that I found that most people do okay with. I would say you're gonna have the best luck on the 30-minute and 3 and the hourly and 5. Mainly the hourly and 5, and aligning that with a higher time frame bias, right? So if we go to, if we were to do the same one with hourly 5, right, you might miss this one. This one gets missed, right? And then we want a continuation, which, cool. But that's what I would do. The thing is, when people go into the 1 minute, they lose sight of what the bigger picture is doing. If you're going to go into the 1 minute, you have to have a very defined area where you're wanting to see a wick form and then catching it that way. So I would stay on the hourly 5, 3-minute, 30. And whenever this in stream yesterday, I'm good at trading from, around 8-ish to 11-ish. I'm not very good after that, maybe even 11:30. That's my window of price where I'm good. I can sometimes clean that to 6. I can catch some entries around there. Um, it's right around when I wake up though, so I normally go for my morning walk, then come check the charts. So this is my area. That's like my window and my focus. So after that, I'm not generally watching. I think that's very good time period. Nuances in trading gold versus NQ. So the main thing between gold and NQ is NQ is going to have that volatility right at 9:30 or the open, where it can make some whipsaw moves or really expand. It has that driver. You're not really going to get that on gold, right? Gold is just going to more so be a little more not fluid, but just you're not going to have some crazy manipulation and just like expansion normally, right? So sometimes I actually would say it works a little bit better with the fractal model because of that. Because if 930 manipulates, right, a high, let's say it looks like this, and then also expands, the fractal model misses that, right? Because you haven't let the candle close yet, but it's already expanded, which is basically what happened here if you're using the hourly, right? You see how it already expanded here? It's like this time frame misses that move really. You can trade this continuation here. Maybe if there's an SMT there, I'd consider. But besides that, there's really nothing there. So there was a short on gold. Yeah, you could short gold. Um, let me see. Mainly, let me pull up here. So mainly with gold, this is my side screen. Mainly with gold, what I was explaining is we have that sweep of the high, right? And then looking for it to trade back into the range. And like I said, yes, we don't close below here on this candle, which would have been the most ideal. We would have had a nicer expansion. But silver is telling us that, right? If we take a look with this closure, that's kind of more giving, right? Hi T, will you be looking to catch a continuation on ES to reach those highs? I don't, like I was just saying here, I don't trade after like 11:30. Normally, even like 11. Like I'm not trading after this time. I've just found that I'm not that good of a trader after that. Or like I'm not horrible, but I'm not that great. So why not just trade the times? Like it just doesn't make as much sense to me because normally an expansion has already occurred. So even if we are to expand to those highs, I'm not gonna catch those today. I'm gonna wait for a daily closure and then wait for Asia, London to form, and then check tomorrow and say, okay, what makes the most sense? Currently, what makes the most sense is ES trading to the highs, right? NQ is quite a bit weaker. The easiest way to see that is look at the higher time frame candles here. Which one got closer to the high? This one versus that one. Which one got closer to the low? ES here or NQ here, right? It's a quick way to check the relative strength and weakness without using SMT, right? Or you could come in here and say, oh, that little SMT that we talked about. So no, I will not be looking for that. Would you consider adding 10 to 15-minute segments in your weekly stream where you walk through 5 days of price action for a specific asset in a style similar to AM's approach? What do you mean similar to AM's approach? Like using the expansion level? I guess I'm a bit confused there. General question. I wonder if there's a way to have a 7-hour time frame in trading view aligned with Asia, London, US sessions. If you want a 7-hour candle, you just type in 7H and it will go to 7-hour candles. I the previous week's price action or something. Is that what you mean? Like a review? Yeah. Yeah, I can probably do something like that. I don't think that'd be too tough. Yeah, there's currently no real bias here. because we're trading internal of this range. Oops. Right? Which is why did I say that I didn't want longs yet is because I wanted this low to get hit. You could consider this low protected because of the SMT here. It's just very hard for me to say that real time. I prefer the sweep. Tell it to go to the highs. I want it to go to the highs. I would prefer that tomorrow, but since you're in a trade, I'll say that I'd prefer it right now because I know you're in a trade like right in here. So I took partial B and yeah, that's chill then. I mean, to be fair, like if I had to choose, my most optimal scenario would be SMT at this low tomorrow, than just longing ES. But do I get to make the rules? No. I just come in and see what it did and then react. And daily profiles are normally my biggest thing. So if I lack a bias when I go to bed, it's usually a little bit more clear in the morning. Right? Like if I had to guess what would have happened last night, I think I showed you guys this. Like I would have said, oh, price is going to open up, hit in here, and then just trade to the highs. The price opens up, trades higher first, then does this. This, like I said, is like it's a bit of a deep run because we only have so much time and so much range we can make, right? This is the end of the day, right? Guess one more over. That's the end of the day. So if you think that we have went up here all the way down here and we have this much time left, we've already made this amount of range, do you think that it's more likely to expand all the way up here? Or is it more likely to wait for the next candle when we have now this time to do whatever it wants, right? Like that's my whole mindset of, okay, maybe we react right here and expand. Maybe I miss it. Cool. But I guess I'm more conservative in that approach. Yeah, I'll flip my bias. I mean, like I said, going into the day or last night, I was bullish, right? But this 8 a.m. candle here told me, hey, your bullish setup is more likely to fail than it is to work right now. So then I'm like, okay. And then that's why I was bearish for the open. Right? But it's a little bit more difficult to do that. Well done, Big O. I saw you caught that oil overnight long. No, I didn't take it. I've been quite sick this morning. So I unfortunately missed about 8:40ish all the way through the open in the bathroom. So yeah, was was not trading that, unfortunately. I was kind of in between. Asia positions took notes from you. Yeah, I'm glad you listened because I mean positional entries are sick. Like let's go take a look at your entry. So I didn't get to review it. The bias was pretty clear though on the daily, right? Let's take a look at this, right? We're viewing this as a range, right? And then this is the first day where we can try to be long here, right? But it fails, right? It opens, trades higher, closes below. Once again here, is it more likely to reach for this high or for this low? This low, right? So then we open up, we take this low, we're closing over. So now we're forming this. And we want to see 0.5 of that be respected. So that would be our like T spot in here, which it doesn't give, but going into the hour, we take a look and let's clean up my chart a little. 26 drawings, kind of wild. But we have this forming an order block, right off the open. And if I'm taking a look, I don't want to see price really return to 0.5 of this. Right, we already made this swing low here, closed over that, so I don't really want to see price return back to this range. Right, so on this closure through, I could kind of consider any entry in here with my stop either on this low or a bit below it, right? Or if you're just taking a positional entry on the open, you would just do something like this. There's 2R, right? Or if you wanted to wick. And that's because we open near where I expect an invalidation to be, right? Granted, at the time of that, this hasn't been validated, but if you're bullish, you expect that to hold. So yeah, I'm guessing you just took somewhere in there, or you may have taken this. It's a bit, that'd have been a bit crazy, but wouldn't put it past you. Or you took this one where it retraced back in here. Once it closed over here, then you longed that, stop there. You took it before. Yeah. I was conflicted on that hourly close. You can say we made a new OB to go lower, but also we can argue. Yeah. Normally when you can make ideas for both directions, it's just rather confusing. Oh, thank you for the daily. Right. Go down to our hourly. Just wanted the right templates. Yeah, it's a bit confusing here because you can frame both ways, but like I said, when we're down here real time, to me it makes more sense to go to this low. That's what I said. Is there any way you could make a course area about where positional entries work? So I likely won't, and I'll tell you why. Um, it's because I don't want people trying to take positional entries until you understand the model. Once you learn the model well enough and you get more experience with it, probably a few months or so. I think for most it'd probably be, let's see, Big O, maybe you can give me your opinion, but I would say like 5 months ish of experience when positional entries start to just kind of click in your head. Maybe Shin, you want to answer that as well? Because I know both of you will do that. But once you understand the model more, like you have that really good understanding, that's when positional entries just kind of makes sense and you don't really have to teach it. I'm not trying to teach something that's gonna just more so confuse the majority of people, right? Like I think that's something you learn with more experience and narrative. Yeah. Yeah, it all comes down to narrative. Yeah, for me, it was easy because you've been a trader for 5 years. Yeah, so it comes quicker, but that's why. I mean, I've talked about it in here, but it's more so experience with the model because you'll come into the point where you're saying, okay, I want to be longing this candle here. So let's see if we go back to oil. You come in, you're wanting to long this candle, and you say, okay, I'm going to bed here, but I know that if I'm longing this candle, I don't want to see it go below this low. So then you say, okay, I'll be a little more discretionary with it. Don't want to see it come back into here. Maybe I put my stop on the low, maybe here, be safer. And then you have your TP set 2R, right? It's a little bit more discretionary in its approach versus if you're just following my model, you know, then you're just taking this entry, something like this. There, right? Yeah, you literally went to bed after entering. I mean, yeah, if you're in New York, you kind of like I'm not catching this, right? Like I mean, I'm fast asleep at that point. I said it before, the model works extremely well, but you need narrative. Usually, if it's failing, it's due to going against higher time frame order flow. So positional entries work well with understanding weekly profile, in your opinion. Yeah. And so that's the thing is the model itself's mechanical, which allows you to, once you understand that, if you're still losing stuff, like yeah, losses occur. But if you're losing a lot, it's most likely that you're not aligned with that higher time frame direction. So it's not you're not messing up on the lower time frame entries because that's just a pattern. Then it allows you to say, okay, well, I lost these 3 trades. Where did I go wrong? And it allows you to actually figure that out. Versus if you don't have a defined model, you're just losing, winning. You don't really know why. So in my part of the world, I cannot enter at that point too late in the night. Yeah. Yeah. Back when I was in Spain, I didn't look to take anything because I was sleeping during this time. And, I'd wake up here. It was 12 a.m. when I got in. Yeah, I'm asleep. Yeah, so you took that entry. Nice. That's the exact entry you took. And then you take 2R, so it's probably where you took off your TP as well. 2RR done, bro. Yes, sir. You could reach for that, but much above that, I don't really know because you just look at our daily range. We're getting around 2.5%, around 2%. 15-minute swing SMT. Let's see. I see it. You're looking at this with that. If you wanted to trade it, how would you do that? Well, if you're using the 15, you'd have to pair it with the 1. We go pair it with the 1, and this is what I mean with it's just mechanical once it's in its process. This would be the entry if I was going to long it. There, 2.56R, or if you just take 2R, there. And let me explain why, and we'll walk through it. Let's visualize the candles. So here we are. We have the SMT, right? The bearish setup. Nice one, right? We have that candle closure. I guess maybe I would have missed it. If you want to get the continuation, let's see. Continuation would be there. Okay. On that low or on the body, 125 risk. Need 250 for 2R. Nice. And then that's the final TV. You catch that? Or you're still in your long from, where are you longing from? Down in here. Yeah, from below. You're just holding. Shall we go over something, guys? Let's do something real quick. This one's more for Shin, and if you're a little bit more advanced with the model, I haven't talked about it much, but why not? Let's say, just for the sake of things, I'm long here, say 2 contracts there. And let's just say I have my TP at the highs, right? So if you want to note it down, we're at about $1,000 of risk, right? $4,000 profit. We're at 0, right? Cool. Let's say I get to the point where we're at there now. Come back down. Where are we at? 15-minute. Trying to remember. Okay, yeah. So we have the 15-minute closure. At this point, if I'm expecting this to hold because of the SMT, not only could I be break even, but I could look to add to my position out. I'm just going to do this so you can see. Right? If I go back to the 1 minute, oh, I went way too far. No. You think it'll keep it? Do I need to restart? Oh, it keeps it. Sick. Okay, so this is back where we were saying. If I now have this area where I have this model, and I'm still long from here, technically my invalidation could be here, right? That's my new invalidation for this setup, right? Now let's say I want to add to my position without adding risk. Well, I can just add to my position until my stop loss is there. There we go. So now I'm risking nothing. I use the profits, my unrealized profits from here, to fund the long position for this. So now you can see I'm risking nothing, yet my profit and loss went from 1,000 risk to 4,000 at 4R to a 15R trade, right? And so if you look, we trade to this high. Come on, man. Well, anyways, we traded that high. We're already at over our 4R, right? So something, but it's just math / you have to understand what's going on and new invalidations. That's more pyramiding. It makes more sense in scenarios like this. We'll redo it. It's not going to be. Oh, it still has me along from there. Cool. This isn't going to be the exact setup. I'm just doing this to show the math. But if we didn't mean to buy there. Actually, I could. Yeah, let's say I buy here. We'll just say I'm in 2. My stop loss is on this low. Why? Well, I'm expecting this to hold. Right? Cool. So once we trade away, and then similar thing, we validate this, it's the same thing, right? I can be break even now, but I can actually be up here, right? So now I have $200 here to fund more long positions before I break even. So like I can basically take $200 on a risk right here, right? I can take $200 of risk. Well, I'm a little too late without adding risk, right? So it's basically I'm going to be break even at 200. So technically can add like 3 there, right? And oops, that's my stop loss. TP, right? And then 2,500. So if we go back to where we added in, which was like right here, it went from 2,570 to, what? 2,570. So we basically raised our initial R up by double or more than double. So what was initially, what is that? 4R. So we basically went from 4R to 9R or 10R, which I have an example of this way back in my TT lessons, but figured I'd bring that up because that's how you pyramid without adding risk. I haven't really told many people about that, but you know, there's a time for things. But that's why I don't really care if I lose, because it's like, okay, if I lose 1R here, or if I add to my winners, it's like I just turned 4R into 10R. During New York, I showed the New York one on gold. Um, basically, I said I would have tried to short this, right? And I either get stopped out here, or if depends on where my stop loss is, right? Like if I am taking this entry, I either get stopped out partial there, or if I'm waiting for the next candle, right? It's just a bit messy in there. So you either get stopped out in here, or if you have your stop loss here or above the breaker, and you hit it. I think Day Trade and Realtor caught this one, this short, because his short is, shorting this breaker with his stop on the breaker high. And looking for 2R. So I think that's his trade. Yeah, but the thing about pyramiding and why I haven't really talked about it is pyramiding makes no sense until you have like a strategy like down a lot, like very down. Otherwise, you're just gonna either add risk or take unnecessary losses. Because what will happen is, let's say you add to your winners, you will get stopped out for break even doing that, right? So are you okay losing 2R? Well, the way I view it is like, okay, now I'm risking my 2R profit on the day for like 12R. Is it good to look for 1-minute entries once you've determined the 1 hour, 5-minute? So if I was going to use the 1 hour, 5-minute, for example, we'll just go into here. We'll do this. This is how I would go about it, is I am looking for it on the 1 hour, 5. Okay. So I'm looking for shorts in this area. So what I would do is when price comes up into this area, if I want to do that, I know I have my 5-minute order block. Let's refine some stuff down here real quick. 5-minute order block. I really don't want to see price trade above there. Right? Like that's kind of the area. So up into this area. Thing is, you don't really want to go too low because like a lot of people will be like, oh, there's the wick of the higher time frame candle. You're on the 1 minute. Like you're not gonna find the wick generally there. So I'll let this trade. Okay. A few ways you can do it up here is wait for an inversion or something like that. You can use a 1 minute or even the 2 minute. find what makes sense. There's a little 2-minute inversion because the CISD isn't going to get you in until here. So, you could use this little inversion here. See how that works. Where it makes a new high, we can check out the time frames again. Right there. So then I could either enter or get in on the retest to our. Oh, nice. That one actually worked out pretty well. So, there's lots of different ways you can do it. It's just stop trying to. The one thing I'll say on this is if you're trying to do this, don't try to catch this high, right? Like, don't try to predict where this high forms. Let it form and then get in on this side when it's already going in your direction. Right? It's a lot easier and you're going to save yourself. Because how many times are you going to try to I'm going to take an entry right there, catch this very high, it's going to go like this. And then you see it just do this. And you're like, oh, wow, if I would have waited for it, there's no swing that even formed there. It's like, yeah, that's the whole model. But that's how I would approach it. Just use like a 1 minute, 2 minute, look for an inversion if you want to get a quick entry. Or even 3 minute. You just look at the price action in there. Right, 1 minute doesn't really make sense to form an inversion. I guess it has a very small inversion here. But no face reveal today. So in this case, you wouldn't be looking at daily bias. Well, so I would be. It's just gold took out the high. Right, so if we go here, gold already took out this high and then formed a reversal. So if we open high, form a reversal, I'm viewing this as open high, low close. I'm not viewing this as open high, low, high, close. Like that doesn't make as much sense. I don't think I have time to play Siege. I gotta make a YouTube video and some other videos. Yeah, basically the target from this swing, right? Because if you look, we can do this mechanically as well. Let's see if we can pull this all here. Right, where does it mark out for targets here? Right there. Right, the target already got hit. Yeah. So it's completely valid to be bullish to that high. Once that high gets hit, it's a little bit more suspect, Question again regarding NQ. So trading between 8 and 11 is fine even if the market isn't open yet. Yeah, so the market, futures market is open, 23 hours a day. So, yeah, I can trade before the NYSE open. I just have to be aware of that timing because that is when a lot of volatility comes in because, you have all the volume of stocks being traded. Dang, I used to be good at Siege. Then I decided to stop gaming and make money. But any other questions? Because I think I'll probably hop off, and I think Garrett's gonna do a stream here soon going over his model of the course until he gets videos up. So is it better to look for a trade after 9:30? I think the easiest is gonna be 10. Um, but I don't know. Better is I don't think I can use the word better to describe the timing of it because there's gonna be better trades that occur before 9:30. There's gonna be better trades that occur after 9:30. It's not like a only like better trades occur after 9:30. Because if that was the case, I would just never trade pre 9:30. You know, it's kind of like a lot of things with trading is it's never 100%. Like I try my best to make all my answers very objective, but there are times where it's just, oh, that's my gut feeling, right? Like that's what kind of what happened with NQ today. I did my best to describe it in the way that I could on why this just gave me the gut feeling of it's falling. And I think honestly, if I wanted to remember, give me a second. I think it's price action from when did I 2023? Fall 2023. This is actually gonna mess with me. We're gonna go back to fall 2023. fall, where are we at? 2023. It is here. Like that, this day kind of reminded me of days in here. See on the 1 hour. Yeah. Like in the fall of 2023, we had a lot of these days where we'd get this little closure like this and then just die off. Like this is all I traded that. I don't know. Like I swear it was. I don't know how I remembered it, but it's like it was like almost all the time. See, like most mornings, like we just get like a little candle that looks like that and then fall off. It was pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. Like I shorted a lot on the fall of 2023. I think there's SMT there, so then I was able to use this in here. But it's like that price action here reminded me, like that's what I thought back to when I was seeing this candle here. I don't know why. I can remember price action from 2023 that needs a reminder to eat lunch. Yeah, gotta get my schedule. But I had like a weird, like I don't know. I think that's just where like experience and just like time in the market where you're like, this just feels like it's gonna fall. Like I did my best to explain it where I'm saying, okay, the closure, the EQ, how it opened and closed, but really it was, I just had a feeling, which gives me 1 to 2 hours. When will this market? I don't know. We gotta wait till this thing comes back. We need a return of the VIX. Man, trading during high VIX times, so fun. Like even just slightly higher than now. Like if you look here, we haven't been above 20. Or like we just can't get above 20. This is when price action was so fun. And then this is when it was dog. So like it was just so fun because it was like I was taking trades on the 15-second on ES, and ES was like smooth. Like I would rip like 20 points in 5 minutes on ES. Now you go to ES and it's like you're gonna wait 3 hours for that move. But yeah, classic. No volatility. I do not know what time Garrett's stream is. Let me just text him real quick. Alright, I texted him. Let's see. Let him know chat said now. Nice, I said that. How's it going, Niku? But yeah, like if you go back to 2022 and you look at the ranges we had and just like how smooth price was, let me show you on ES the difference of intraday price action. Right, like we go intraday here, go on a 5 minute, it's just like a bit choppy, right? You see candles with no wicks. Let's go back to 2022. Back here, this was so fun. You can just go to any time frame. Like ES was smooth. Like this looks like NQ now. It's like that's a 10-point move in 5. Like you see what I mean? Like 10 a.m. to 11, ripping 60 points. Versus like we go to 10 to 11 today, even with a drop. 10 to, oh, well, I guess it didn't do anything. 10 to 11. Nice, we made 16 points. Sick. This whole drop down, 22. Like we made 3 times the range in 1 hour back in 2022. Yeah, the SMT on that high kind of sent it. We had a nice, go back to NQ is a lot cleaner on the 1 minute. Use I saw that and I was like, I'm not gonna say anything, but shall we go over pyramiding again? Let's say, for instance, I was short in here with the little breaker. Stop there. I don't mind stop losses on failure swings when we take out the lows to the left. Anyways, risk 130, make 600, basically like 5R. Oh, I missed it, but if I wanted to, could add up in here. Basically, let me see if I can replay it. Basically, if I don't expect it to come back up above there, it killed it when I replayed. Anyways, can't even do it. I don't know if the stream's in 480p. My computer here has a thing where if I try to share my screen, it just cuts out my microphone. So I have to share via OBS. Someone say a breaker. I'll just do it this way. 0.5 of the order block I don't want to see above it. Go like that. And then I would. No way I'm adding on this candle though. That doesn't make sense. Closes like there. Yeah, then I would just slap it until my stops there. Use these profits to pay for this position, and then I've like tripled my position size. T, it's that CPU. I have a decent CPU, man. Well, I guess it's 5 years old, so I don't know what I can say, but this thing runs everything on my computer. My computer cooks, man. I bought this computer actually has, like, sentimental value, I feel. It still has the same wallpaper that I had when I was broke. Like, I haven't changed anything. Add mic input to the screen share in OBS. It is. I have my mic on. Do I need to turn it up? Or what do you mean? Yeah, I actually learned to trade on this. This is where I lost money. Actually, I had my old laptop too, because when I would trade before a class, I would do it on my laptop. The amount of money I made and lost on Tesla options on that laptop, so funny. Oh, no, if I try to screen share on Discord, so I have to go through OBS. Yeah, it's a bit annoying. I don't know why it does that. My drivers are all up to date, I think. I don't know, maybe they're not. I don't think they are. They say they are, but I haven't updated my drivers in, like, 9 months, so I feel like that's wrong. Alright, Garrett said 10 minutes he'll start streaming. Why you wouldn't do live stream trading? My thing about live stream trading, sometimes in these streams you'll see me call stuff, but I'm not gonna go through the process of setting up a trade, having someone taking it, losing money on it, then getting upset with me. Like, you're not gonna use my trade to get upset with me or, you know, like, I lost. I don't need you going after me too. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not trying to get into legal trouble in any way possible, so I always minimize anything that could do that. Yeah, until Mr. Day Trading Realtor puts down 80K on 0 DTE options on one trade, loses it all, and then sues me. Yeah, I remember Blastoise. Already did that. Yeah, I don't he also probably has, like, a few thousand followers. I have, like, half a mil. There's a bit more risk exposure. Also, I'm gonna be super honest here. Most people that are looking for live trades, like, yeah, I can teach you, but you're gonna learn way better off if you don't have that. That's why Aim and I don't do that. Because at the end of the day, if you're not gonna be able to figure that out for yourself, you're not gonna do it, right? Like, if you always need to rely on someone else, yeah, we could do back testing. If someone tries to sue me back testing, I'll be like, "Give me your demo lawyer's number." Yeah, but you shouldn't need me for confidence on a setup. It's your model, your setup. Me saying yes or no shouldn't be confidence. You shouldn't care what I say. Because, like, you'll see, there'll be trades that I wouldn't take that people in here take, and it works, right? There's trades that I would take that you probably wouldn't take that might work or not, right? Like, end of the day, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm here to give you my knowledge, and then you have to take that knowledge and make it work, you know? Screw live stream face reveal. Yeah, Leo, he posted a face reveal. Thing is, I just don't. I'm gonna use my mysteriousness to grow a personal brand, I think. Lens of TT. Then I'll start maybe doing something. Oh, we are full sending to that highs. The Batman of trading. Yeah. I'm gonna make an OnlyFans and it's just gonna be Kiko. No, no, it's just gonna be you charting, bro. It's gonna be photos of your charts. Only charts. I don't know why people wanna see my face so much. I genuinely don't understand that. Like, I'm never gonna put my face on my educational videos. Like, that doesn't help you learn. Uh, I am young 20s. This range is sick. These are the ranges that kill people's options. Garrett's live stream will be uploaded to WAP. Yeah. So what Garrett will do is his live stream will go over his course, and that will take place of the videos until he makes videos. I'm a boomer in some ways. Like, I go to bed at like boomer times. Okay, wait, I'm putting my standing desk down. All right, we're back. You old. Bro, I'm just trying to gotta look up real estate bidding war. Just got my client 20K more. That's sick. Wait until you have kids. Try trading with they run over. I mean, that's why I'm gonna have to have a wife, man. I'll be like, yo, I'm working the next 3 hours. You gotta take care of these little TTrades running around. What hour do I wake up? I normally wake up at 6 a.m. Yo, guys, you wanna hear a sick plan though? My little brother, right? He doesn't know what he's doing with his life. He's I told him you can move in with me because I have an extra room because I have 3 bed here, like 3 bedrooms, and 1 is my office. So I have an extra bedroom that's not being used. I was like, "You can live with me." He doesn't know what he wants to do, and now he finally showed interest in trading. So I'm gonna speed run him and see how fast I can teach him to trade because he doesn't have any bad habits. So that's, like, the main thing. Because like, when you don't have bad habits, trading is a lot easier. I'm just gonna teach him GXT, that's it. How do you define bad habits? Revenge trading, oversizing, tilt, not following your rules, any of those. Like, I had so many bad habits because of how I learned to trade that, like, they still come up in my mind. Like, stuff doesn't just go away. You just learn to deal with it. Well, so the thing is, GXT is the fractal model. It's just using the 4-hour to align it, which I think that extra step is actually very beneficial. You start with binary options. Isn't that just like betting if it's above a price at a certain point or below? I actually feel like that's a scam. No, he's gonna be in here. I'm gonna make him make a Discord, and it's just gonna be TTrades brother. Make him make a Twitter and journal everything. That way, when he does dumb shit, I'm gonna be like, you have to post that on Twitter for everyone to see. Oh, you over leveraged? Post it on Twitter. Let everyone see. TT Junior. We'll see. We'll see if we can speed run him. The thing is, TTrades brothers model. I'll actually make a video for that. That'll be funny. The thing is, you can't teach people to trade unless they show interest, right? So now that he actually showed interest and wants to learn, like he's actually motivated. You just can't until people show that interest. Maybe I'll make him make a YouTube, Twitter. That'd be kind of sick, hey? Like a whole YouTube of his whole journey from 0 to either still broke or trading. There we go. FOMC minutes. What time are they at? 1:30? 2? Bruh, I wanted to shame. What a move, bro. It's the classic Browning formation. This used to be like, okay, I used to, like, love trading consolidation. That was my favorite. Like, that's all I would trade back in 2021? Somewhere like that. Like, I used, do they have it on here? Let's see. We're getting so off topic. Anyways, still gonna see. Guys, do you know if they have TPO charts? I thought they had TPO. Am I tripping? Oh, nope, nope. Dang. Let's see. TPO. This one seems to be good. Has a lot of people. Okay. Apparently it doesn't work. Let's see. Yo, where are we at? Yo, that ain't it. That is not it. I don't like that. Anyways, if you go back to like my very first videos on YouTube, you'll see that I like had a tutorial on how to set up set it up. Top left. Oh, no way. Let's go. There we are. This is what I used to trade. Yeah, that's not it though. That's what it looks like. But I would expand. Can I expand it out? Yeah, let's go. No way. This is how I used to trade. Literally all I would do is I would just wait for basically it's like this is a P-shaped profile, but I would just wait for a low to form like this, and then I'd trade the following sessions back into the range. So like back into this area. Let's see. Value area. Yeah. That's all I did. That's hilarious. Yeah, so like this. I normally would expand out the session, so it's basically like it looked more like this. We're gonna switch this back to what did I do? Bars. And go to like a 30. Like this is basically what I did. I used that and then I would trade these 30-minute bars. So I was like, oh, we form a low here. I just trade it back into the range. Like that's all I did. We have come far. Yeah. No, it actually worked though. Like I'm not gonna lie. But now like if someone's like, oh, I wanted to do volume profile or something, I would just say find a range, mark it out. I have it like this. And then all it is like when you come out of the range or the edges of the range, trade it back into the range. That's how you trade consolidation. Like I'll use this on stocks like daily here. This is a let's take this to there. And then it's basically like when it gets outside this little range, I just trade it back in. It works pretty good. Like you can't even lie right there. Just let a swing form outside the range. And you trade it back into the middle of the range. But you know, there's only one algo. How profitable was I? I mean, I made money and then I think like realistically, if I didn't have bad habits and would blow up, I would probably just still be trading that. Because like I made money. It was just like I would go in tilt. And then that's why I wasn't profitable. Like I was profitable and then I'd have a tilt day, not profitable. So that's why like most of trading is like realistically, if you stop doing dumb stuff, you'll be all right. No, I did not trade. I was in the bathroom the whole time. Most of it. The only one that I was looking to really trade was CL back into the range, which oh, cool lesson for this. I actually want to talk about this. So when you have a candle 3 closure like this, right, and we're validating this order block, generally I'm looking to trade this next candle, right, because I want to see open high, trade lower and close. But we already expanded here. Something I like to do, and maybe I need to add a little section in the course about this for refining, is instead of looking in this hour candle, just go down one time frame and wait for a swing to form. I guess in this case it doesn't, but a lot of times it'll form a swing right there. This one you might have to do 2. Yeah, it's not clean at all, but that's what I have been doing. See if I can find another example real quick. That one didn't close below. I think we can use this one. No, it still didn't do it. I guess CL is just choppy, but anyways, the only reason I liked this one was trading back towards the daily open. Think about this in terms of the weekly profile. Like this is how I think about it, right? Like this is our little week, right? AKA the day. And we just trade higher this whole time. At this point, RB hit that high, right? So if we're looking to trade back into that, then you can look to trade in there. So that was the only one I really looked for, but I was not doing very well health-wise. Hello, Garrett. Shall you just join in? I feel like should I cut the last like 20 minutes out of this live stream? Because I feel like I've been rambling and just talking about random crap.
Should I do
Oh wait,
my
I gotta put my headphones in. Give me a second. That way you don't get mic feedback. All right, you're good.
All right. Should we do
He
my
just made his new logo. Yeah, if you want to do your stream, I'll end my stream real quick, guys. Do I cut out the last 20 minutes or so of my video, or do I just leave it?
Was bro yapping?
I was yapping. I was it was very much a yapping. Leave it. I guess there's a few lessons in there that could be found. Why I was a broke trader because I went on tilt. All right, we'll end that stream. And then we shall let Garrett take over.
Yes.
GXT.
EXT. All right. Yeah. How do you make the WAP like full screen? Is it a thing or no? Oh, I'm gonna share my screen real quick.
No, that's what we've been trying to get WAP to do the whole time,
Oh, yeah,
and
okay.
they haven't.
We can do it.
Yeah, they just don't.
Okay.
But
Fine. All right. Well, let me share my screen. All right. Can everyone see and hear?
yes,
Cool.
sir.
Okay. So TWX, you can start recording. Let me full screen here. All right. So let's get into it, baby. So we'll start with open, high, low, close. This is the first section. Get the notes here. So this just talks about the different types
Yo,
of.
real quick,
Yeah,
hit the little people icon at the top of the screen.
there we go.
Oh wow, that doesn't even help.
That
Yo,
actually,
WAP sucks with the UI. All right,
this
maybe
is
put
like
it
the
back.
problem.
Actually put it back. It actually looks better the other
Yeah.
way. That sucks. All right, see ya.
Okay. Yeah. So this section just talks about the different types of candles that form in the market, which ones we want to engage, which ones we want to avoid. So let's talk about how a expansion candle, bullish expansion candle forms. So generally, what we want to see is this candle open low first, right? Expand away and then close near the high. Now, the reason why we want to see this candle open low first is because we want as little time in the manipulation phase of the candle so that there is more time to actually expand, right? We want no wasted movement in the manipulation phase, really. So that's a bullish expansion candle. Here's a bearish expansion candle. This applies to all time frames, what we're showing here. So So here's at a positive condition. This is what you want to see to really confirm that you're on side with an expansion candle, and that's going to be the opposing run, right? So with a bullish candle, you're going to look at the bottom wick, right? You want that to have that small wick supporting expansion. With a bearish expansion candle, it's going to be the top wick, right? Pretty easy. So what we want to typically avoid, right, is these reversal candles. So even if this is a bullish candle, right, with this large wick, it's less likely to close near the highs, right? So when you're looking for a continuation way up here, right, this is a negative condition, right? Because first off, this daily candle is, you know, exhausted, right? And we have that large wick, which typically these candles don't close near the highs, right? You want to avoid that. Now, there is a way that we trade these candles, but that will be, we'll go over that later in the course. So, what about a reversal candle where we open low first, right? Create the low and then trade back in the range. Now, these are the candles that we don't typically want to trade, but there is a way to trade them. This is very different than this candle, right? Because this candle might open high first or whatever like that. This candle here, we want to see it open low first, right? And you have to adjust your targets, which we're going to go over later. But typically, right, you want to trade back to the open. And with this large wick, it's not likely to expand way up here in the range, right? It's more likely to fall back and close near the opening price, right? So that's just going over candles. And again, we look to trade expansion candles. So let's go into the next lesson, which is expansion alignment. This is what my whole model is framed around, right? So these are the candles that I really look for, right? This can be the 30-minute as well. But I typically like to align the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, or the 30-minute in the same direction away from, the same key level into the same draw, right? So this is what's going to look like. Let me just make sure I'm good here. We're good. All right. Let's say we have a daily reversal, right? Which creates the wick, right? What are we going to wait for? We want to wait for 4 hour expansion to align itself, right? So we want to be looking for longs within this 4 hour candle. Why? Because it doesn't support expansion, right? Look how far the wick is from the open, right? For this to be you know, it can't be an expansion candle, right? Because even if it switched bullish, right, what would have that long wick, which we don't look to trade, right? That expansion is more likely to occur in that next candle opening, right? So you just want to wait for that to align itself. And obviously, this manipulation here, what is it creating? Right, that small wick supporting expansion in the daily candle. Let's move lower. So this is just aligning expansion candles with models, right? So if you want to trade an internal to external model, right? Let's say this is a 4 hour time frame. We're not going to trade this candle that hits the key level. We're going to look for the next candle to trade and trade expansion candle away from that key level, right? So we're waiting for expansion to align with these key levels, right? When trade expansion candles away from them, right? What about this high? So external to internal. Not going to look within this candle. We're going to start to pay attention to the following candles after that, right? So here we would look to trade these candles back into the range. And here we have the daily candle also supporting that, right? So the previous day took out this high, the new day opens, and we see it make the run the key level, right? What about this? Again, this is can be used on any time frame. So here's a daily chart, runs out this low resistance, right? Failure swings. What do we see? The monthly or the weekly candle is supporting that um, right, that move to these lows, right? And I'm going to show you guys some examples of all this stuff later after we do this quick overview, right? So reversal types. So there's three ways I look to trade reversal candles. So the first one is obviously, we all know this one, right? Next day model or C2 closure. We fail to close over candle one. We look to trade candle three away from that reversal, right? So this is something that's a little bit new to you guys. This is a candle two reversal into expansion, right? So what are the two ways a reversal candle could form, right? Well, it's the one I showed you earlier, the negative condition where we have that long wick, right? Where we typically want to avoid. What about the reversal candles that have the small wick, right? What does that indicate, right? Expansion. So It's a two-stage, um, like it reverses and expands in the same candle, right? With that small wick. So this is when, let's say, candle one hits a key level. We look to trade the next candle, aligning ourselves with expansion. As long as we have that small wick that runs out candle one's low, we can actually trade this, right? And I look to trade these candle two reversal into expansions on the 4-hour time frame and the daily time frame. So what about this? This, you're going to see this a lot. Now, this is when candle one hits a key level, and let's say it doesn't have that reversal candle. This is typically again on the daily and 4-hour time frame. Inside of this candle here, you may have a, let's say this is a 4-hour time frame. You may have like a 1-hour candle two closure, right? So, or like maybe a lower time frame CSD, like 15-minute CSD or something like that. And you'll see just this candle expand. I'm actually going to show you a quick example right here. Um, so like right here, right? We hit this key level or whatever. And it's not even about this closure really. It's just about on the lower time frames, right? We go to like to the 30 minutes. It's just like any profile that you would confirm, right? Let's say you get this close right here. And you have the indices, the opening prices till 9:30 runs out some lows or whatever. And all you're going to ask yourself, are you within an expansion candle, right? So, right, we can trade away from this low. That's really all I'm looking for. I'm looking to trade away from an established low and trade 4-hour expansion candles away from there. So, again, all these reversal types. Well, this one obviously we're going to use on any time frame, right? Because we trade the fractal model, but these two reversal sequences are more for like low of the day, high of the day, stuff like that, on the 4-hour time frame. Um, so this is how to trade the candle two again. So candle one hits the key level, right? How does this candle close? You're gonna ask yourself, how does this candle close, right? Is it a reversal candle where we expect candle three to expand and not take out candle two's low, or are we going to take out candle one's low because it's a expansion candle and expand away, right? So here we hit the key level and close a expansion candle, so we frame a reversal off that candle's low. Let me just show you a quick example, right? So here, you hit this fair value gap or this swing low. How does this candle close, right?
Yo, your
Yeah.
screen's frozen.
I don't know why it does it. Are we good? Yeah, we're good. Okay, so I'm just showing you an example of a candle two reversal into expansion candle. So here we have an expansion, right? What phase of price do we get? Consolidation. We make an open low daily candle, right? And the 2 a.m. candle. How did this candle close, right? An expansion candle. So we're going to revert to this low as a reversal point, right? And we can trade this candle two, this 4-hour candle two, um, right, because of this small closing run. We see, and we see that the low of this candle is created from what? A fractal model, which is what we're going to get in later. And we see that again over here. This is a London reversal, right? We have Asia consolidations, well, right here, right? We have 2 a.m. taking out the Asia session lows and expanding, right? So it's reversing, it's manipulating, but also it's expanding in the same candle because of that small wick. So where were we at? So yeah, that's how you trade a candle to um, reversal candle. But we're gonna get into the confirmation of that later on in the course. Um, let's move on. So let's get into profiling the 4-hour chart, and profiling the daily candle. So for London reversal, right? Let's say this is the hourly time frame, right? So this is profiling apart from 4-hour key levels, which would be something like this, where I just showed you guys. Something like over here, right? We don't have a key level to the left. I dropped down to the hourly time frame. We do have a key level, right? A swing low. So all this is what we need to be trading, from is 1-hour key levels. That's a must, right? The low of the day must be formed from a 1-hour key level. And you want to trade away from that 1-hour key level, right, within a 4-hour expansion candle. So you see how we were trading away from this hourly sweep. We show you here, right, inside of a 4-hour expansion candle, right? So see how simple that is? All you're going to ask yourself, right? Let's say it's a fair value gap. right? If we hit this fair value gap, this is the low of the day reversal candidate. All you're going to ask yourself is, are we trading with an expansion candle away from this? If you're not, you're simply going to wait the next candle to open, right? And sweep out that low, depending on how it closed, and you're just going to trade away from it, right? So if we go back, right? So all this is pretty much Asia session consolidates or whatnot, and then we're going to assume that we're to the key level to the left, and we're just trading in a reversal into expansion candle away from that, right? So this is London reversal. What about New York continuation? New York continuation is very simple, right? We're trading away from the London low today. We're trading within a 6 a.m. expansion candle, right? So there's two 4-hour expansion or two candles within the New York session, the 6 a.m. candle and the 10 a.m. candle. We're more concerned with the hours of 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the 6 a.m. candle because that is where the drivers, right, the red folder news events lie within that time window. So that's what we're going to put our focus on, right? We're not really focused on the hours of 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. Now, if you're a Forex trader, this 6 a.m. candle will open up at 5 a.m. Um, so you can start your session at 7 a.m. But yeah, it's simply just trading away from London session, right? We're all familiar with this, but all we're doing is we have to be within a 6 a.m. expansion candle, right? And this is a 10 a.m. expansion candle, right? Where we're putting in a 2 a.m. low and not only a 6 a.m. expanding, but also 10 a.m. expanding, right? Very simple. Um, what about New York reversal? So the 6 a.m. candle, right? If this is going to be a New York reversal, and let's say the drivers within the 6 a.m. candle, so let's say 8:30 red folder, you know, manipulation or whatnot, you can trade within this candle as long as it's what? An expansion candle. So you see the common theme here? We're just trading within expansion candles. It's very simple, right? And if 6 a.m. puts the low of the day in, as long as there is an objective still available, or the daily range is, not exhausted, right? We can still expect a 10 a.m. continuation, right? So that is 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. continuation. Let's get into New York reversal. Right, so New York reversal, let's say none of the previous sessions do anything. They don't set a high or low of the day. This is when we're going to revert to the 6 a.m. candle to create that reversal and the time drivers within it. So again, here we hit a key level. Maybe 2 a.m. hits a key level, but has yet to expand because again, it's not aligned with expansion. We're going to revert to that next candle to expand away from that key level. What about 10 a.m. reversal? This is when none of the previous candles do anything. Let's say 2 a.m., 6 a.m., they don't really do anything. Maybe they hit a key level. Maybe 6 a.m. hits a key level, but it's the reverse. So this is where we're going to look for 10 a.m. to reverse, right? We need that small opposing run again, right? So let's get into, so those are the profiles, right? Only two. Let's get into profile on the 4-hour chart. So again, this is when we're going to revert to 4-hour key levels, right? To create the higher low today. And again, we're just showcasing the profiles via 4-hour candles. So a New York reversal would look something like this, right? You have an impulse leg, a fair value gap. So looking for a continuation, right? Where we open low into a key level. Let's say the 2200 4-hour candle. It's a key level, right? We're just trading a reversal off that candle's low, right? Because to have a New York reversal, London must be the low today. So it has to sweep out this candle's low, right? What about an order block? Right? Open low into that order block, right? Same thing. And here's a swing low, right? So the common thing with the 2 a.m. and New York reversal that you guys are going to see that they have to sweep out this low, right? They have to sweep Asia lows. So it must really only be a reversal into expansion candle. So this is why I had to teach you guys this, right? Um, because it can't be, it could be, right? If you want to trade I didn't put this in the course just for simplicity's sake, but if 2200 handle does hit a key level, so if you're like a Forex trader, and it does hit a key level, then you can expect, London continuation. But I mainly focus on indices. So London or Asia high today is not really something that we see too often. So yeah, so let's move on to. Oh wait, whoops. I So here is 6 a.m. continuation. This is simply when, right, 2 a.m. hits a key level. Doesn't matter how the candle, closes. It can close like this, remember? Um, but it needs to hit a key level, right? We need to be able to trade away from that key level. And to trade a 6 a.m. continuation or New York continuation, we need to have that small opposing run, right? Okay, so very simple, right? So 6 a.m. reversal. So just like 2 a.m. Reversal, we need to trade off that previous candle's low. So this is when the London session, the 4 hours within this candle, right, don't really do anything. Maybe it hits a kilo, but it doesn't reverse, so we can't trade away from it. So we must trade that reversal off that candle's low, and then we can trade away, right? And again, fair value gap, order block, and a swing low. This is a 10 a.m. continuation where 6 a.m. hits a key level, right? And this can be, right, this is a New York reversal where 6 a.m. hits a key level and then 10 a.m. expands. Um, this is a classic buy day where it's a London reversal. We form a swing point, right, where the 6 a.m. candle starts to trade away, but hasn't yet exhausted the daily range, right? So we can expect a 10 a.m. continuation, right? That's what you want to see. If you're going to trade the 10 a.m. candle, you don't want the daily range to be exhausted. You want to have objectives still open, right? So here we have a we have a 6 a.m. reversal, 10 a.m. continuation, right? So it's all about what candle hits the key level, trading the next candle away from it. It's really as simple as that. Um, Here's the 10 a.m. reversal, right? Where none of the three candles or two candles really do anything, none of the two sessions. So in the New York session, maybe 6 a.m. hits a key level. We have to reverse off that candle's low, right? Um, this is a fair value gap, right? Order block, same thing, right? So yeah, that's really as simple as it gets there. So let's move on to ideal profile. Now, this is, if you just stick to this profile, I promise you, you'll have great success. So, what is the ideal profile that I look for? It's essentially where we open low and the candle's wick is formed from manipulation. So, intra candle, we are trading away from a protected low. So, the candle opens low, right? Runs out a short term low that we can trade away from basically its own low, right? So, it creates the wick and we can trade the body, right? So as simple as that. And we look for this on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame. So how does that look via profile? So London, Asia lows will generally create like 1 hour swing points, right? So we run the low out and we pair that with an SMT, right? And right, we get our shift. Maybe we get our model that we look for that we're going to learn later. But yeah, this is generally exactly what we want to look for, right? So New York reversal. So be within the 6 a.m. candle where we run out, let's say London low. So the previous sessions don't really do anything. Maybe they consolidate. We run out that consolidation low, pair that with a driver. So 830, 930, SMT, right? We expand away from that. So creating the wick, right? From manipulation and expanding away, right? Trading expansion candles away from this. Um, and also, you need to align the manipulation with the wick size of the daily candle, right? You can't have manipulation expansion if you don't have that small wick, right? Because in order to get expansion, right, we need that small wick supporting. So let's go to wick size. So how to trade a reversal candle, right? Very specific, right? Let's get into it, right? This large wick. Right. So one thing that we need to see is Asia must be the high of the day, right? And we must open low first, right? Because we want as little wasted movement as possible, right? What we don't want to see is an open high and then low and then high again. Like that's too much wasted movement. We want to see an open low and then high, right? And the reason why we want Asia session to be high of the day because we want the high of the day to be formed early on in the session, right? Because if we basically create the low of the day as early as possible, right? We have enough time in the day to revisit this high. We can't really create this high in let's say like New York session or London session, right? There's not enough time in the day to, make the low and then expand back to the highs, right? So we must hit a key level, obviously, right, to trade back into the range. So here is an example of us running out this low in New York session, right? And what are our targets? So in order to trade this day, right, we can't expect a daily expansion candle, right? So we know it's most likely going to close back within its own range or near the daily open. So we must adjust our targets to that. So what we're going to target is either targets back within the daily range. So let's say this candle right below the daily open, or not this candle, but this session high, right? Or maybe Asia session high, so the current day's high, right? Because right, we're not expecting price to expand past the daily open. Um, so it's going to look something like this, right? Now another thing is that should be in here, right? We want to see the low of the day formed before 10 a.m., right? Because like I said, if this low is formed at like 12 p.m., you cannot expect, this random time, like PM session to basically, reverse the daily candle, right? There's not time to do it. So we need enough time to create the low and also expand back into the high of the day, right? And here's a depiction of price, closing with that small body, right? Big wick, small body, closing near the daily open, right? So simply just adjust your target. We must open low first, right? And must target session highs, right? Pretty simple, but and here's what it looked like on the forward time frame. So again, what are we trading back to the daily open? We're trading within 4-hour expansion candles. So we're still aligning expansion candles, but just not the daily, right? We're adjusting our targets. So we're trading, 4-hour expansion candles aligned with 1 hour or 30-minute expansion candles back to the daily open as our targets. And again, must hit a key level. Let's move on. Now for targets. Now for targets, this is very important. And I see a lot of people, this may help a lot of people. So what I like to do, let's say I have a higher time frame draw, right? I'm going to revert to 1 hour and 4 hour models supported by the daily candle. So what does that really mean? Let's say, we want to trade to this draw, right? We hit a key level to the left, let's maybe a daily fair value gap or whatnot. And say we run out the previous day's low. So let's say the daily open is right here or something. It supports expansion. I'm simply going to I want to get in before we take out these hourly draws, right? Because after we expand into objectives, what phase of price do we get, right? We can get retracement, consolidation, or reversal. We don't really know, right? So when we take out these lows, these key levels, or we hit key levels on the hourly and the 4 hour time frame, we get a new phase of price, right? Which should be expansion. And what do we target in expansion, right? Objectives, right? So I want to get in before we take out even these intermediate time frame models, and then I want to manage my position to these higher time frame draws. So let's say I get in right here, this ideal swing formation. I want to get in before we take out this high, right? I don't want to chase price, right? That's where you get chopped up. That's where a lot of people go wrong, right? I want to get in before, right, we take this high out, and I want to manage my position into this high, right? So pretty simple, right? Now, what is intra-candle targets that I call, right? Is again, I want to get in before we expand, right? So before even the daily candle expands, ideally. So what does that mean? Are we open low first, right? And we're creating objectives. We are creating, right, intermediate time frame draws on liquidity, right, via session highs and lows. Um, so what we're doing here, right, trading away from a key level, doesn't matter. This is New York reversal, this is London reversal. And we're targeting these hourly highs, right, which is below the daily open. So we're getting positioned in the wick, right? And we're trading 4 hour expansion candles away from these key levels, right? Um, and here's our draws on liquidities that I look for. These are just models, right? Internal, here's the reversal point, the target, external, pretty simple. Here is external, the reversal point, internal, the target. And here's this is basically like external range to external range, or whatever you want to call it, order pairing ranges. You take out one side of the range, target the other side, right? So manipulation, distribution into failure swings, which is my favorite model personally. So I believe that is it. Let's see. Oh no, we have entry type, right? So now let's get into the entry type. How do we actually confirm these 4-hour lows? How do we confirm the high of the day? This is how you confirm everything, right? And how you get onside with entry. So what is continuation? Right, let's say this is the 2 a.m. candle, right? It hits a key level to the left. Well, what is this candle not aligned with? It's not aligned with expansion, so we're going to revert to that next candle, right? How do I confirm that this next candle is going to expand pretty much? Well, within this candle, right, you're going to either have a, a C2 fractal model closure or a C3, right? So that's what a continuation is. It's when the 4-hour candle opens up within an already existing fractal model from or away from a key level, right? So I'll show you some examples of this, but this is continuation, right? This is probably my favorite as well, right? Because we don't need to see we don't really need to see the 4-hour candle do anything. It should just expand immediately, right? Because the reversal has already occurred on the lower time frame. So this is when it opens up and just expands, right? So what about reversal? So let's say this is a 2 a.m. candle. So London reversal. This is when the 4-hour low is formed from a lower time frame fractal model, right? So an hourly 30-minute. Pretty simple, right? This can also be a continuation, right? So let's say we're going to trade the next 4-hour candle. So this candle reversed. What about the next candle expansion? This simply means that the low of a candle, so even if it's a continuation, the low is formed from a fractal model, right? Pretty simple. What is aligned? This just means you're trading continuation, right? Aligned with a 4-hour expansion candle, right? So this is the low of the candle, right? We expand away. We're getting reaccumulation or redistribution, right? From this fair value gap. And you're already aligned with a 4-hour candle, right? So the fractal model that you're trading within is supported by expansion, right? You're already within expansion. So those are the three types. Let's get into some examples and then we'll go over some questions. So let's even start with today. Or no, this is not today, but I'll show you an example of today. Let's go over EU here, for example, right? So just continued expansion, right? We see the daily wick, right? What does it support? Expansion. What does this wick need to be formed from? A key level, fair value gap on the 4-hour time frame. So are we going to trade within this candle? No, we would trade within this candle, right? So the 1 a.m. candle, is this 4x by the way, is opens right here. So this is the new 4-hour open, right? Is there a fractal model to trade away from this far? No, right? So what do we need to wait for? In this case, it would have to form right ideal swing formation or just a candle 3 closure, right? So we get that candle 3 closure, right? We close a body above this candle, right? Meaning that we can trade the next, or yeah, the next hourly candle, right, to these highs, right? And again, we want to get in before these highs. What is this? If I go back to the course, go to targets, right? This is intra candle targets, and we're ideally getting in the market before these draws are met, right? So if I play price here, we just draw out the fractal model here, right? All we need is a body closure above these opposing candles to confirm that C4 wick, right? So there we get it. Again, what's our target? Above here, right? Right, and you see, you obviously get 2R there. So what about continuation here, right? You have key levels for continuation or opposing candles, right? So this is where's the 4-hour open, right? So why would we not trade this 4-hour candle? Does anyone know? Right, because of this large wick, right? The candle open is here. Look at this huge wick, right? we ideally would not trade this, even though it works here, right? But this acts as our filter, right? For to avoid these reversal candles, right? We don't want to be involved in this. In this case, it does work, but a lot of times it does not. Let's go over today's example though. So this is a London reversal. If we go over here, right? This is the 1 o'clock candle, right? This is the London session as well. And what we see here, if I go on GU real quick, so here we have a swing formation. If I go on the correlated asset, we actually take out this external range high. Right, so that is a divergence, right, with the previous high. So just given that alone, we can start to look short, right? And what did the previous, if you want to trade a London reversal, we must reverse off of 2100 candles high. This is what we do. We have that small wick. What is the high of the candle formed from, right? Reversal candle, right? If I go back to reversal, not reversal, but the entries type, right? The high, in this case, we're trading a bearish expansion candle 4 hour. The high is formed from a fractal model, right? So this is our alignment, right? We have SMT up here. This is our key level, right? Because the correlated asset actually took out this high. And just the signature and price of expansion consolidation, right? Low resistance is what we target. This is what we want to trade, right? And you get the fractal model there. And you also get some sort of continuation as well, right? If I look here. This is a 9 o'clock candle, and it opens up within a key level, right? So again, small wick supporting expansion. The high of the candle also forms that, it's also a reversal sequence, right? Same thing as here, formed from a C2. And you can look to trade that lower, right? So that's just an example from today. I think someone took this, by the way. This is a good catch. Let's get into some more examples, right? So CL. Let's get into these two London reversals, right? So this is the 2M candle on futures, oil chart. This is the 6 a.m. candle. So it's not a London. This is London reversal. This is a New York reversal. Let's go ahead and look at what formed the low of these candles, right? It's a fractal model, right? So here, this candle, right, confirms the 4 hour low. Now we're aligning the 4 hour small opposing run with the daily and the hourly candle. So see how we're aligning 3 expansion candles in the same direction, right? In this case, this candle here confirms the 4 hour low. Now we're trading the next series of expansion candles into these highs, right? Into these intraday highs, right? This high was formed in the same candle, right? This is what we want to target. Does that make sense? And here's your fractal model, right? C2, reversal into expansion. And you also have your trade here, right? For C3 and C4. Here, here's your C2. Right, you have multiple entries here. A little ugly, but that'll be sometimes. And yeah, pretty simple, right? Confirming the low today with obviously this key level, which is this swing point low, swing low. Also within this opposing candle, right? So previous day, there's an SMT here. We put in this opposing candle, and we're just right expansion supported by opposing candles here. Let's go into this example on YM. So here's a couple examples of the reversal sequence where we don't actually close a C2, but we just expand. Let me go into this here. So it's going to be this one, where instead of this candle, right, we may hit a lower time frame key level, we may hit a 4 hour key level, but we don't reverse, right, visibly on this closure. But on lower time frame, we may start the reversal, or maybe a lower time frame reversal, right? All that matters is you're trading within a 4 hour expansion candle away from the key level that got hit, right? So what is this really, right? If we look at the previous day, right, large expansion candle, what are we starting to do? I actually traded this as well. We put an SMT up here, right, within this 2 a.m. candle. If I drop lower, right, what do we see? And this is what I mean by this. Look, I'll show you. So this next candle is the open up 6 a.m. candle. But look at the close here. But there's no specific close that we see. Right? There's no reversal candle, but on the lower time frame there is, right? You run out this short-term high, right? And what would this profile be? My ideal profile, right? I'll show you. Where the high of the candle is created from manipulation. Right? So you see that short-term low ran, we go on YM, short-term high ran, and expand away, right? So I didn't even trade this candle, I traded the next one. I actually did trade within this candle actually, but it was this is an aligned version, so let me show you. So this is a TTrades fractal model where it's aligned with the 4-hour candle, right? So within here, the same candle. And also, how does this candle form, right? It opens high first, puts in the reversal, right? CSD. And then what are we going to trade? What time, what times are we going to refer within the 6 a.m. candle? Well, you're going to refer to the 8 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, but more importantly is drivers, right? So here we have 9:30, which is right here. So when you have an assumed high of day, you want to see 9:30 expand away from that. So that's what we see here. And at this point, we're already within a 4-hour expansion candle. So that's already aligned. Now we just want to align the 1 hour and the 30-minute, aligned with that, right? So here, prior to 9:30, we run out this high, right? So you can already start to look within this candle for continuation, right? You can put some candle there, right over here, right? So you get that continuation. Pretty simple, right? Sorry, I'm almost calling me. And then we get a 10 a.m. continuation, right? So all this is expansion, large range, previous day. You start to kind of consolidate here, right? Put in some sort of reversal with an SMT up here. We're expanding back in the range, right? That's all that is. I also traded this day as well over here. It's the same type of thing, right? Where the 2 a.m. candle hits this high. And a lot of times you may have an SMT right here, which we do have, which is also a form of the same profile that I just showed. Right? This is also intracandle manipulation. You have to treat an SMT like this as manipulation. Because if I showed you the correlated asset, it actually took out this high, right? So you have to treat it like that. So the high today is formed from manipulation. How did this daily candle form, right? It opens high first, right? Session lows to target as well. So you want to trade to this, right? And how to get on side with this expansion, right? We're going to refer to um, the fractal model, right? So here you have candle 1, candle 2, candle 3, and candle 4, right? You have time drivers within this. So let's say it was a little ugly, but here's 8:30, right? And like I said, if you have an assumed high of the day, when the drivers expand away from that, that is a confirmation, right? This is one of the most repeatable things, like drivers. Um, the way you confirm high of days, low of days, pairing them with entries, pairing them with reversals, right? Um, is one of the most consistent things you're going to see in the market. If you see here, even look on the 3 minutes a bit cleaner with this opposing candle, right? So you can take that, pair this driver with a trade, right? Here's 2R right there. Um, and for continuation, definitely a bit ugly, but 9:30 makes an opposing run up, and you get your close through right there, right? And you're already aligned with that small opposing run on the 4-hour, right? And the daily time frame. and targeting these session lows, right? So how does 6 a.m. close, right? A obviously a strong closure, right? And we also create a CST, right? So what can we expect 10 a.m. to do? Right? Expand, right? Into these failure swings. That's what I was really eyeing here. So very clean there. Get into some more examples. HG. So this is an example of aligning a lower time frame model with a higher time frame expansion candle. So here we're on the daily chart, and here we take out all these lows. So when are we likely to get expansion away from these key levels, right? On the new candle opens. So here, for the previous week, take out this low. When is it likely to expand, right? That next week. What about from this fair value gap or from this swing low, right? The new month open, right? So see how we expand away from this monthly low, right? On the new monthly candle, we reverse off this candle's low. So it's actually fractal, right? So why was price waiting to expand, right? Once we form the swing low, why is it waiting to expand, right? We get this phase of price here back to the range. Well, it's because, right, this candle here is already exhausted, right? So that new phase of price of expansion, retracement, expansion will happen the next, right? That next candle, right? That's kind of what my model is based around, right? This these new phases of price opening on or happening on new candle opens. Um, so this is an example there of higher time frame stuff. Now let's go on to some more examples. This is a trade that I took on CPI, I believe, like last week or something. So we had this high in the market. We also had the previous day closure, right? Reversal candle. We just had these like failure swings up here, and also these failure swings. So I typically want to trade towards those, right? And right, if I'm going to trade towards like these highs up here, right? I want to get in before we take out any major highs. So I want to get in before we take out these highs, right? So here, where's the daily candle? Open. It's right here. So how does this candle form? Right, opens low first, right? Pairing the low of the day with what? SMT. So again, this is the same profile, intra-candle manipulation, where the low of the candle is formed from manipulation. If I show you gold here, right? This is the manipulation on the 4-hour or the 1-hour chart. All right, so now we can expect the wick to form, right? And expect distribution, right? And we're always going to pair this, right? This manipulation, if I show you here, this is New York reversal with a driver. So here's 830. That's what we're doing here, right? 830 manipulation. How to confirm this 6 a.m. candle low? It's a fractal model, right? We have a candle 2 closure here. So we can expect the next, let me just draw this up for you guys. The next series of candles to expand. So this is a trade that I took into this high, right? Right, so pretty simple, right? So that's that. And then we'll get into a couple more examples. All right, this is some stuff last week. So how to trade a large wick. So if I show you this here, right? Oh, this is not actually a large wick. I'm thinking of this day here, by the way, actually. I'll go over both of these days, right? So first we'll go over this one. This is a classic um, London reversal, right? Again, the low of the candle. There's no specific close, but that doesn't mean we can't trade away from it, right? Because we're in a side of a key level, right? Where we'd want to see reversal because all this is, right, is a range low to high, fair value gap. And it's really what gives us away is price signatures, right? You have these equal highs, right? And just a slow move back in the range, which is a retracement signature. A retracement signature is a continuation signature, meaning after we retrace, we expand, right? So here we have a CSD. Let me just erase this. So I'm trading within the 10 amp candle, right? What do we have? A swing point formed in the market, just like the fractal model. This is a strong close in candle 3, so we expect candle 4 to expand, right? Um, but simply put, right, 2 a.m. reversal, 6 a.m., 10 a.m. continuation, right? So what forms the low of 10 a.m. candle, right? A fractal model. And one thing to note here is how the I think we had news here. I don't have my news indicator. I think we might have a 8:30 news. I don't remember. We definitely had obviously 9 o'clock, 9:30 news. And what that did, it failed to really continue lower, right? So what does that mean? That really supports our idea of continuation, right? Because if the red folders can't actually reverse price, then that just means we're going to continue, right? We're already bullish, so right, the fact that we made an opposing run to the draw and a close through, that's confirmation. That's pairing a driver with basically either with entry or just confirming a bias, right? That just really confirms narrative for me. So all this is, you get a close through here. I believe I took this on a 30-minute actually. Yeah, I took this on 30-minute. It's a bit ugly, but here's the CSD over here, by the way, right? So we already have that aligned. Here's the first 30 minutes of the 10 a.m. candle. It opens low into some lows. There's also some minor SMT here as well. We're going to look inside of this candle. Do we have a candle to CSD? Yes, we do. All I need to see is this. Right, so that's my entry. Put my stop loss below there. It does get a bit uglier. We eventually draw. This whole day was kind of ugly, but eventually draw into this high, right? Right, so you see how we went from here, we have this small wick on the daily chart. So that does support it. And then we're just trading, right, small wicks on the 4-hour chart, confirming the wick with a fractal model. And then we're just trading series of expansion candles to be this objective, right? So that's really it. We'll go over this previous day too. This is a bit weird one where like Asia's the low today. Um, but what we do here, so maybe a bit advanced or something, but you create a swing point, right? And when you create a swing point from a key level, right, it's almost like if this key level is going to form, it's going to expand, right? And what we see here is candle 3 doesn't expand. So it's like candle 4 is like forced to expand, right? I've talked about this a couple times before, but I'm going to revert to drivers within this candle, right, to expand away from what? The assumed low day. So when the drivers expand away from that, that's adding to my narrative, right? That this is the low of the day. And by the way, this is a very large opposing run. You see that? And notice how we close back above or you know, close to the daily open, right? So if I show you here, we go back to open high low close. This is more so this candle here. We open low first, right? And we have to adjust our targets. So what am I targeting here? If I show you Asia highs. So this is the 1800 candle, right? The first hour of the day, and we instantly open low. We create the low today early on in the day so that we can expand back into the highs, right? Because there's obviously enough time in the day to expand to this high, but we don't expect price to expand past it, right? We just target it. So that's very important to recognize. Um, Here, I believe I just took the 15-minute model. Yeah. So the low of this candle, or it's really not, it's just continuation. So not really something that's in my course. This is just more discretion thing. I'm just trading the 15-minute fractal model aligned with the 4-hour time frame. So it's really the same thing, but um, yeah. So what we see here is 9:30 expanding away from the here from the low of the day. Right, we're also forming an ideal swing formation. Right, so I'm just trading the next candles to this high in the 1-minute chart. Right, so pretty simple there. And I wouldn't be expecting a 10 a.m. continuation in this case. Why? Because we already took an objective and the daily candle does not support it. Right? If you see the 10 a.m. candle, it doesn't really do much and we close back within the range. Right. So that's really it. Um, did I trade this day as well? Trying to just find any other examples that I took. I don't think so. I don't think I took this. Oh no, it's too late in the day. What the heck? Yeah, I didn't take that. Anyways, let's get into one more example. Let me show you guys one more example here. So I also took this one. Name open right here. Let's show the hourly chart. We have that intracandle manipulation, or the ideal profile that I like to use, right? We have the previous sessions do nothing. It just kind of consolidates. Now, why am I even longing here? Right, Monday opens low, right? Very large range. So I'm not expecting a continuation after a huge, large range. And um, as well as, um, right, we have no wick in the weekly open. So generally, I want to trade back to that. And so here we have the previous two sessions consolidating. So when we run that out at a key time, so 9:30, then that adds narrative, right? 9:30 manipulation, 10 o'clock expansion. And what forms the low today, or what forms the low of the 6M candle? It is a fractal model, right? So this is an example of price opening up within a fractal model. Let's go back to that. It is continuation, right? This is when 10 a.m., right? Previous candle already reversed. The next candle just continues, right? Open it within a fractal model. So we see right here. And here's my entry right here. Right, so 9:30, pair that manipulation, we close through it. That adds a narrative to higher prices. And then this next candle, this 10 a.m. candle, opens low first. I get a closer above. That's my entry to take it to this high and somewhere up here. I forgot where ITB, but it was like 3R. But yeah, pretty simple process there. But that's really all I do, guys. Any questions now? Let me get to it. Y'all can start pinging me here. If there's no 4-hour fair value gap or order block, short-term block, can we look for a PY on there? Yes. So I'm framing highs and lows of the day on hourly and 4-hour time frames. And if it's an hourly POI, you're simply trading a 4-hour expansion candle away from that low of the day. I usually trade gold using 4-hour 15-minute on my personal account. I'm not sure if you use any futures platforms, but if you do, turn to trading. Oh, I just closed the trade. Yeah. So like Top Step, you can't hold overnight. So I simply just have to close the trade. But I'm usually out of my position by then. Let's get into any. Are you showing a chart or just WAP? So we went over WAP and the charts. Unless you guys are talking. And maybe that was later. Maybe my screen was like frozen. If you ever got any questions, and let me know. I can try to revert to some other examples here that I took. Some really clean examples on YM. A while back. I can remember. After all this chop. It was like over here. Here's an example of a large wick, right? And the profile here is just giving me bias, right? Because we open low first, we get our ideal profile that I'm gonna show you. And I'm just TPing at the previous day's high or at the current day high. So right here with fair value gap. So Asia session does nothing. It just consolidates, right? What does London do? Right? It manipulates into this fair value gap. And what does it close like, right? It closes an expansion candle. So we revert to a reversal off this candle's low. So that just means that since this candle is a reversal into expansion, right? See that small wick? This just means that you can trade within this candle if you wanted to, right? Or you could trade 10 a.m. continuation, up to you. So if I go to the lower time frames, the low of the day is formed from, right, a sweep. If I show you YM here, or RTY, the quarterly asset, we actually take out this low, right? So that is the low of the day formed from a manipulation, right? Also paired with a driver. So if I show you 8:30 news, this is 8:30 news, makes an opposing run to the draw, then it's manipulating, and then If 8:30 manipulates, what should 9:30 do, right? Expand. So that's what it does right here. Right. What is the low of the 6 a.m. candle formed from? A candle two close, right? Fractal model. Pretty simple, right? And then here, you want to wait for 9:30 to pass, which is right here. Here is the reversal here. So that reversal is actually confirmed inside of candle 3. So you can take this entry like right away. Um, and this is all 9:30 also creates that PST as well. So you have multiple entries here. You can take this one as well. Right? After we take out the short-term loss. So 10 a.m. opens lower first. You can use this as an invalidation point where you'd want to see the 10 a.m. low created from. Then we run out the short-term low, create a nice opposing candle. Yeah, you can take that higher. That's what I traded there. Even the previous day had another model. If you just look at the chart over here, right? This candle here manipulates this low. Now this is a Monday, but what do we see with this closure? First off, we form a swing point, but we have a larger wick to the downside. So if you actually look in the lower time frame, all this really is expansion, retracement, expansion. That's kind of how I'm viewing it. And this wick right here is the expansion on a lower time frame. You see this expansion away from the key level, you get your confirmation. So inside of that wick, you have a CSD. So you can look for continuations within here, right? And here's the same profile, the ideal profile, where the previous two sessions consolidate, right? We run out this short-term low, pair that with a driver, so 9:30. 9:30 runs out this low, and then 10 a.m. continuation, right? So this is again, 10 a.m. is opening up within a fractal model, just expand away. So there's another two examples. Here's another, even this day here, right, with just this huge series of expansion candles. And this Monday high of the week, right here, you can look to trade back into the range. And you can see that the way this candle forms um, supports a bullish day, right? Because it opens low first, doesn't create a wick, but opens low first. Where's the daily open at right here? Right, so again, we're not going to trade the London reversal here. Why? Because it's not an expansion candle. We're simply going to revert to the next candle, right? How did 2 a.m. candle close? It's a expansion candle. So ideally, we sweep out this low, right? What is the low formed from? A fractal model. You see that? Also, what is it? Also, it's a ideal profile, right? The low of the candle manipulation. Is there an SMT? Yes. So the 6 a.m. candle low is not taken on RTY. The low over here is taken, right? You pair that as well. And you can trade candle 3, so 8 o'clock, 9:30, the 9 o'clock candle with 9:30. You can also trade that. So if 6 a.m. candle reverses, New York reversal, what will 10 a.m. do? Expand, right? So hopefully it's starting to make sense. So with this being kind of a large wick in a way, if I show you on the daily time frame, it's not insane. And it's really hard to give you a specific, I can't give you a specific amount of points or anything like that. But this is the general rule. This is why we made this rule. Is if you think it's a large wick, right? Then this is how it needs to happen, right? We need to open low first. So you're going to revert to this here. Where is it? Wick size. You're going to revert to this. Just follow this protocol, right? It's exactly what we see here. We open low first, create a manipulation, like literally like this, right? We run out short-term low, pair that with an SMT, right? And then you can trade the, obviously, our reversal sequence with the fractal model. Yeah. Let me see if I have any questions. You trust the correlation between YM and RTY quite a bit. Yeah, I do. They look, uh, they don't look Yeah, they're really not as correlated, but it's more. I think YM is more correlated than RTY than YM is correlated to like NQ and ES. So that's kind of like your only option there. But when assets are not correlated, so this can happen, right? Where two assets are kind of fighting against each other, then you can't even use SMT because there is no crack in correlation because at that time there is no correlation. So you generally want to avoid trading those days. What are your thoughts and why? Yeah, it's just the closest in correlation. So if I show you here, let's show like the daily chart here with R2A, it's like pretty close. Like you see, we fall off here, right? Same thing. It's pretty close, right? And you see the reversal was actually created from an SMT up here. So we took out this high on YM, we failed to do so on RTY. So it's pretty correlated, actually, in my opinion. But I wonder if sometimes you trade inside the 4-hour 2 p.m. candle. I don't really trade PM. It's very specific. Like I took like one trade last week. It's all it comes down to is there an objective still open? Really, all it comes down to. But yeah, normally the move is already done by PM session. Do you not use daily bias for previous day close? No, I do. So everything like bias wise, you can all get that from the fractal model. So I'm still trading the fractal model, but this is how I trade the fractal model, right? I align multiple expansion candles in the same direction. This is how I confirm like 4 candles highs and lows and all that. Have you tried the fractal model with 7-hour? I haven't. Have not. But the way I use the way I profile the 4-hour candle is somewhat similar to the 7-hour chart. I'll go over an example of this trade that I took on HG. I wanted these lows to get taken, but we didn't quite get there. But I believe I traded within this candle here. Okay, so this would be an example of aligned, where I'm aligned with the 4-hour expansion candle. We get this ideal swing formation. You get this closure here. Right, that's what I took. And then I could have partialed here, but I wanted to hold that. And then it came back. It was unfortunate. But yeah, it was still a good trade though, still valid. It's just like chopped around for the rest of the day, I'm guessing. Yeah. Like when you see this, like when you see these deep pullbacks and you know, right when you take it a low, we reject back up. It's just like not a day. You don't really want to be chasing price because it's already showing you the willingness that isn't really. It's not really heavy. Price is not very heavy. If the daily and 4-hour line up, but you don't have a fractal set up for the high and low, do you just wait for a sweep? Yeah, you just wait for a fractal model. But most of the time, you do open up within a fractal model usually. Let me show you my trade on Friday. Last Friday. Where was it? It was here. It was here. Is that right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, so we reverse off of this candle's high. Let me show you how this daily candle formed, right? So I'm getting biased multiple ways. For one, daily closures. Here, I can't revert to a daily close, right? There's other ways, right? There's the way the candle actually forms. So if you see the way this candle forms, right? So this is like this. So if I show you lessons, open outlet close, a bearish candle, right? Opens high first. Right, that's what you see here. So we open up the candle high first, right? So that's one way I'm getting it. And the second way, when I open up when I open up the charts at like 8 a.m., I already see that we reversed. Like, we already have this confirmation. Um, so I'm just looking for continuation, right? Into like session lows and like you see all these failure swings here. That's what I like to see. All these failure swings, and then beyond that too, like these failure swings. It's really these zones like in close proximity, right? Which is the previous day's low. If I look here on the 30-minute chart, then I'm getting even more confirmation that we're continuing away from this CSD. So what is this? The ideal swing formation. So where's 6 a.m. candle open? It's right here. The high of the 6 a.m. candle is formed from a fractal model. So this would be classified under reversal if I show you. It's just the 4-hour candle is reversing from a fractal model, right? So it doesn't have to be a reversal into expansion candle. It can also be we should probably add that. I'm not gonna lie to you. For expansion candle, like this is just a continuation candle, right? But the high is confirmed by a fractal model. This is what I traded. Right? You get your ideal swing formation there. Just delete all this stuff. And with this closure, like I'm not assuming price comes back up here, right? Because this little pullback is already like well positioned in this range, right? I wouldn't want to see like after this really strong close. I'm not trying to see price come all the way back up here, deeper in the range, sweep out the high. It's not necessary, right? You already have the wick formed there. The way this candle also formed, right? Opens high first, and then we're getting the closure. So this is on all time frames, right? Which is how we want to see candles form. So that's what I took there. We got a really nice reaction, and I TP'd at the previous day's low. All these failure swings, or somewhere around there. But yeah, um, so it's like the same process like every single time. I also took take what's something I took last week. I'm trying to remember for you guys. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't trade YM much last week. Oh, I took. Oh yeah, took something over on here. I think I took it as an ES. I don't know. ES, I think it's an ES. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So why did I take this previous day? Right, manipulation. So I'm getting my bias from closures, but I'm also confirming. Right, you don't just get bias from closures. Like obviously you get the idea. You still need the confirmation via profiles. So I'm like really relying on profiles here. So here, this is the daily open, and you see this move here. I'm not really concerned with this move, right? Because it doesn't really hit anything relevant, right? These would be the relevant highs that we're looking for to trade into. We don't hit those, right? There's no reason to reverse from failure swings, so I'm not really concerned with that. It's also an irrelevant time. It's like Asia session, so we see the 2M 4-hour candle that we make a low, right? So with this long wick, right, no closure. So again, this is why I added this in the course. Like, where is it at? Reversals. This would be the low of the day. Whoops, I gotta go to notes. Sorry. The low of the day looks something like this, right? Where there's no specific closure in the 4-hour candle, right? But I'm just going to revert to drivers within this, right? So how to confirm again? I've said this many times, but how to confirm a low of day if it's before a driver, right? We want to see the drivers expand away. That's what both drivers do. I'm telling you, it's like very repeatable. So here's 8:30 red folder. It expands away from the draw. We also take out this low. So at this point, I already have a 4-hour expansion candle aligned. You see that? I already have that aligned. So you can look for trades in here. It just gets a little ugly. Like there's obviously nothing to take here. And I'm gonna wait for 9:30 as well. So I actually took this entry right here. I took that. I sent that out. Um, and you also have this right where the 10 a.m. candle opens within a fractal model. Right, just continuation trading away from the lows. Sorry for that. So here we open up, we go higher first a little bit, and you come lower into this opposing candle, so key level. Then you get your intra-candle CSD. Let this dog out before he starts crying. All right, but yeah, I took this trade. There's also this one, right? Because we form a swing point here, right? We open up the candle, the new candle, right? Create an ideal swing formation, intra-candle CSD, and that's 2R already right there. But yeah, there's multiple entries that day as well. And yeah, hold on, where am I on to? Can you show examples of the 4-hour and daily candles to avoid trading? Um, yeah, so like something to avoid would be um really like even today, bro. Like I wouldn't even trade today. Um, Mainly because of this just large opposing run. I look at like it's kind of weird this day, honestly, because this deep run in the range is not something I like to see for even a continuation, right? But here's the daily open. We open high first, we open low. We get a 10 AM reversal. Is there even a model there? Let's see. Maybe I missed this, but I wasn't really concerned with this, honestly. Wasn't really looking. I was also on a call with the. Let's see. We would need to close above here. So like, I guess that is a valid entry, right? So maybe I missed that. But I was kind of busy today. But I didn't really like today. I wouldn't really call this like an A plus thing, but yeah, it worked out. But that's really the model right there, right? I just don't like the intraday like framework, to be honest with you. I don't know if anyone took this. I like longs, like I definitely like longs overall, but yeah, it's just it wasn't that great to me. And here's the same thing. Like, look, so 10 a.m. This is when you maybe could actually trade the freaking the 1400 candle, which is actually very rare. But what we see here is 10 a.m. reversal, so New York reversal. At this point, like we're already close to these highs, so you can expect the 1400 candle to expand. And you see what we did prior to the 1400 open, right? We form a reversal, and it's opening up within a C2. So here is a continuation model. So let me go back. Lessons. Um, so the first one, 10 a.m. would be, oh, sorry, this is 1400. We open up within a fractal model. Okay, you see that? Let me mark out the 10 a.m. open and the 4-hour open. Right. So here's a 10 a.m. reversal. Here's the continuation, right? And here's the reversal. Go back. Reversal. Right. The low of the candle is created from a fractal model, which is what we see right here. Right. So maybe there's trades there. There's really no way to get in here. That's just too large. Maybe it's like a 30-minute model. No, I don't think so. So yeah, there's just a 10 a.m. opportunity there. But I just didn't take it. Oh, after I like saw basically, I think it was when was it? There was an opportunity here on like YM and stuff, and on NQ. There was like opportunities for sells even if it didn't reach this low. But that's what I was kind of targeting. Just being honest, I was targeting this low. And once I saw the 10 AM candle, it's kind of whack, right? We didn't get speed to this low, so it's really not concerned. But some things to avoid is when either like 6 AM candle is like a very large range, then I can't really expect 10 AM candle to be, um, a very large range. So let me try to show you an example. So like something like this, maybe you target this low. See this huge range candle here? Like this is typically like where the daily candle is already like kind of exhausted, right? So if I show the hourly chart, it's already printed a huge range. So I'm not even that interested, right? And here we look what we get. We get a reversal, right? A new phase of price after we take out this relevant low. We just reverse, right? And this is an example of 10 a.m. opening up within a fractal model. You see that it works there, right? So I even saw this day, but I was not I was not interested in trading back to the open here, to be honest, just because it's huge wick. It just wasn't interesting to me. I did trade this day, however. Um, this is really what you want to see for a 10 a.m. candle. So in New York reversal, you ideally don't want it to expand, right? Because you basically want to catch the majority of the daily range. So at this point, we kind of have that large wick on the daily chart, but what is the high of day formed from, right? It's early on in the day. And the low of the day was formed before 10 a.m., so I can expect 10 a.m. continuation towards the high of the day or objectives around the daily open. So this is what I traded here. Um, so this is really what you want to see. Some things on the daily chart to avoid would be days after large ranges. So it's the same thing. Like if you look at the expansion model courses, where it's like 3 days of consecutive expansion, it's really like that. Even on like the 4-hour time frame, if you see 3 consecutive expansion candles, like you're not likely to get continuation. You can see it right here. Like we have high of day, 1800. I would never look for a continuation in New York, right? The daily range is already, exhausted, right? It would actually make more sense to come back in the range, but um, those are just some things to avoid. If I show you why I even sold silver last Friday, it was because of that logic. So here, so I saw gold, right? What do we see here, right? A very large range, series of expansion candles. So within this 6 a.m. candle, we have 8:30 red folder news, right? So when are we likely to come back to the range, right? Red folder. So this is why I actually sold gold on Friday, right? So we have an ideal profile where the high of the day is formed from manipulation, also paired with an SMT. The high of this candle formed from a fractal model. If I show you, or sorry, open up within a fractal model right here. All right, so I'm just trading this next candle right here lower. So I actually got in prior to the news event. We just expanded to the previous low. This is a crazy range day. It was like actually wild. But yeah, it's all the same stuff. Everything I'm taking. What's another thing here? So like here's a really good example. Like here, again, I wouldn't be looking for a continuation lower, right? Because the daily range is already, you know, printed, bro. Like, look at this. It's already a fat wick, so I don't expect a large range day to these lows or anything. So I don't expect 10 a.m. to continue, right? Doesn't really make sense. And you see, we kind of just chop around. Um, and also, you know, let's say prior to your session or something, we take out objectives. Again, I'm not really interested because I want to be targeting these objectives, right? Like I said, on the 1 hour and 4 hour time frame. Where is it at? So if we go to targets, this is important to me. Like stuff like this, right? I want to get in prior to taking out these draws, even though this is my draw on liquidity, right? I'm not looking to trade after we take out these highs, right? I would rather wait for another key level to get hit and a 4 hour candle to align itself again. Just start the process over again. So here we retrace, right? Run out the short-term low within this range. I want to get in before we take out this high, right? And I want to get in right before we take out this high and partial here, right? Partial to these areas to basically, trail my position and take my final TP at this high, So that's what I'm really looking for. Be right back. Sorry, my dog's freaking out, bro. What is your success rate? So my success rate is like high 60s, low 70s, generally. I aim for like I so it depends how many contracts going with, but um I generally TP at like 2R, but I like to TP around structural targets. Like if you look at today, I kind of got greedy, but I was actually pretty confident in this low being taken, not gonna lie. Just think it taken. So like I let go, like where was it? Oh, I'm on replay mode, sorry. So I kind of let a lot of R go, but I was holding to this low, this structural TP here. Like I could have TP'd right here, but honestly, like looks like a failure swing to me. So where's my trade at? Somewhere around here. Yeah, I let go like a 2 point something R trade back to my break even, which happens. You don't use 15-minute swings anymore? Yeah, I kind of don't really use 15-minute. Now I will release a scalping model, which is it's really the same thing. It's when I'll just find an example for you real quick. Let's find a fractal model. So essentially, where the low here's one right here. It's literally the same sequence. So you see, this is an expansion candle on the hourly time frame right here. You see this? The high of the candle is a fractal model, or you just open up within a fractal model. You see, I'm just aligning a lower time frame model with a higher time frame expansion candle. That's literally all my. That's my. I'm just aligning expansion candles and having a lower time frame model supported by a higher time frame expansion candle. Really, that's it. If I try to find another example for you. Oh yeah, here's one. Right, new hourly opens like right here, and it's opening up within a swing formation, right? A valid three swing formation. So you just expect that next candle to expand really. But I'll probably ask T if we can add like an advanced section at some point. Probably add that in there or something. There's some stuff that we could probably add, or whatnot. We'll make adjustments. But yeah, it's very specific to for when I actually trade the 15-minute. Yes, it's recorded. I'm not sure if this will be under the course or what. But if those are all the questions, guys, probably wrap it up here. Can you respect to the 0.5 video? So yeah, like the 0.5 EQs of like candles and stuff like that, it's all the same as a fractal model. For scalping max time frame. Well, it's not really. It's like 1 hour key levels, really. So if you wanted to use the 1 hour time frame, yeah, maybe there might be an example here. Maybe that's an SMT. Okay, yeah, look. So look here. If you want to use the 15-minute or something, right? You want to trade within 1 hour expansion candle. So you see this here. You don't want to trade within this candle because the 1 hour is not aligned. So you want to wait for that next hourly open, and then what are you opening up within? A fractal model with SMT to high. You want to trade that next open high low close, right? 15-minute candle, pretty much. Right? Does that make sense, kind of? So it's literally the same thing, but fractal. Which this was the trade this morning, by the way, on NQ or not on RTY or YM. Either one. Like this trade right here was the trade, but I was not on the charts this time. Like this right here, with the ideal swing formation, little 2R right there. I think that gets hit. Yeah, yeah, that was a trade this morning. And even this right here, if you want to take this too. So definitely some opportunities today. And that 10 a.m. reversal, didn't expect to be real. But there was a trade there too. Yeah. Took the soup. Oh, fire. Was this oh nice. Oh, I'll show you RTY, bro. I was on a call with T, so he missed this. This is so clean, man. So look at all this low resistance here. You take out the relevant swing. So essentially this is the model, right? Order pairing ranges. If I show you in the WAP within targets, right? Taking out a range low, right? Targeting the range high. In this case, an RB, we're taking a range high and targeting the range low, right? So here's the range high, Here's all these fair swings, right? All these fair swings that you can target. And then how did this candle form? It opens high first, right? So that's something you want to trade. And when do we actually expand away, right? It's waiting for that next candle open, right? This candle is in support reversal, trade the next one. Simple as that. Then you have this objective here, right? What do we open within? Fractal model. So really, this is just a fractal model, but it's kind of like giving you a what's the word here? A filter. Like you should know exactly when and where it's around these candle opens. Um, right here's like these little fair swing lows. This is so clean. Where's the trade at? So show you. Right, so that's the trade pretty much right there. Here's the key level, fair value gap. So that was like really clean. I think some people took that. Really clean draw. Like this is pretty freaking clean, dude. Pretty A plus as far as like just profile goes. Now the higher time frame is probably a mess. Pretty much a mess. I mean, not really much to see there. Really, all we have is like this relevant swing, low to high, and you have internal stuff. So obviously, this is a relevant swing. This is a relevant swing. But when you take out relevant swing, you're going to get a reaction usually. Um, yeah, that was pretty clean. The daily candle supported bears too. Price confirmation. Yes. All right, guys. So I'll probably wrap it up there. I think I showed enough examples. Just walk through the course. So yeah. Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.